welcome back to Liverpool 12th Man Show. And what a day it was at the King Power Stadium as we get one step closer to lifting up a trophy that should be mounted on our trophy cabinet more often. But this will be number big 2-0 if we are to be able to get that one more win. We're one more win down, one more win closer. And it is certainly a pretty incredible feeling that is building as we get through what is, which is the end of the season here. We got a game on in the background too. It's Forest currently giving Spurs the business in London, apparently. Two early goals for Forest by Chris Wood and by Anderson. Using Chris Wood. We got to get back to we got to find out what's going on with our fantasy football updates. Our commissioner has been a little bit lax on keeping us up to date, but it's all good. It's all good. We appreciate the fact that you can set it up. So, but we also want to have the panel today is Brian, and we also have the Irishman, and we also have Nolante as well. How you guys doing? How you doing, Irishman?
Yeah, very well. Good to have you back.
Yeah.
Back live.
Yeah, it's a little different settings. Yeah, I got I'm on I'm on location, I guess. So right now, so it is different, definitely different. And we have Nolante too with us. How you doing, Nolante?
Yeah, big up 12. Like I said, good to see you back. The theme tune. I've missed that theme tune for a while, a couple of days, but yeah, it's good, man. And since you're on location, Toph, have you bumped into any FSG people since you're on the mission of location to location? Your American intellect, your American spice.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just doing my best. It's not it's not very easy sometimes with my schedule the way it is. It's sometimes really, really crazy and hectic.
Yeah.
But
Brian's been holding it down.
Yeah, but Brian's definitely been holding it down, representing for sure. Big up to My LFC History. Okay, it's a new name.
Norm. Yeah, I realized that today, Brian. Let me know.
Yeah, that's Norm's new channel.
Oh, okay. Norm got a channel.
Yeah, Norm's got a channel. It's great. He's putting up little short videos of his memorabilia collections and videos and stuff. So
if you can, I don't have the link. I'll certainly subscribe and definitely, we could drop the link if it needs to be on here. That'd be great. That's cool.
We'll put it in.
Congrats to Burnley. I got it. I got you, Norm. Big up. Congrats to Burnley and Leeds, who both secure promotion to the Premier League today. So Burnley, not without minus. I couldn't know I can get that mindless. I am a little mindless today, but mindless. Victor Company at the helm get promoted back to the Premier League. It looks like Leeds. I was pretty certain that Leeds was going into a forward motion into getting back into Premier League. They're certainly a big time club that has been, unfortunately for themselves, championship levels or championship settings, I guess. But they are looking like they'll be entering the Premier League once again. And I'll start this off by saying, look, as you can see, actually I got to lean this way. As you can see behind me, Mr. Trent Alexander-Arnold made a thunderous hello and welcome back, certainly, to the team. Real Madrid bound or not, I'll say that. I'll emphasize or not. He delivered the perfect parting gift if he is Real Madrid bound. He gave us the perfect parting gift. If this is his farewell tour, off the bench and into the headlines, he rifled home the winner that moved us obviously that much closer to touching distance of the Premier League title. And what a moment it was. He ripped it off his shirt, trying to, I don't know why that's all of a sudden, that's like the new move to do, is to rip off your shirt and just try to embarrass those of us that don't go to the gym too often. But he ripped off his shirt and was chest out and celebrating wildly in front of the traveling Reds, possibly for one of the final times he'll be able to do something like that. With Leicester fighting for their lives, this was never going to be a walk in the park, obviously, and it wasn't. The Foxes pushed. They fought hard. They hit the post a bunch of times, had a goal disallowed, which was something I'd want to talk about too, by the way. But Liverpool held on firm. Salah had his unlucky moments, I think. I think Agent Cody was very quiet on the day, and Ali did his job when it mattered. But from Konate's near miss to McAllister's midfield masterclass, which I do think it was, this wasn't a perfect performance, but it was enough to get us over the line. 1-0, one win away. And for Leicester, that was the final nail in their coffin, as they will be now officially relegated. So now let's get into the big moments and raise the talking points only Reds can ask. And let's just ask these questions to the panel. I'm going to ask this question to the panel. First off and foremost, what was your feel-good moment of the day for this? You know how we like to ask that question. What was your feel-good moment of the day? And you can tell us in the chat, too, what was yours. I'll begin with Brian, since you're off.
Oh, yeah. It's bittersweet, I suppose, not feel good, but bittersweet moment for Trent. Yeah. Didn't have to, I know sort of someone kind of, it had to be him. It's like, didn't really have to be him. But yeah, that was, like I said afterwards, no matter what happens, there's a lot of different opinions on it, but you can't really fake that celebration. You can't fake that kind of emotion. He might be leaving, he might have decided that his future lies elsewhere, but yeah, that celebration, you can't really fake that. So I did enjoy that, even someone like cynical as me, like there was like a real kind of honesty to that celebration.
Mm-hmm.
So that even if he is leaving, he wants people to know that he's still a Liverpool fan. He's still a Liverpool boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's still Trent. He still feels for the club. That's how much, even if he's leaving, this is how much he still wants this for the club. So you can't really ask for a lot more than that. I know a lot of people, like I say, some people, that's their opinions on him leaving. But that was, like I say, it's bittersweet, but it's a game of moments sometimes. And that was a big, big moment, one which he was probably waiting for. So, like I said, that was just, there was an honesty in that celebration. You can't, that's not like somebody kissing the badge, that was real. So
Understood and agreed. I as much as I love the response that he made off of the goal, and everyone's saying that too in the chat, Trent's goal celebration and the response from the fans, I was happy to see the fact that when he was subbed in, there wasn't a negative response. That was like obviously going to be everyone's attention onto how the fans were going to react. And I knew that the traveling fans especially, because like the supporters on the road are just I would go as far as to say almost like a different level of supporter in essence, because it's not easy to make those trips, into the confines of enemy territory, I guess you could say. And, you're the few fans or you're the few voices that are going to be, obviously there to support our boys. So normally you have to, take it a step above and beyond when you don't have the other, 65 to 70,000 other people around you to help you out with that, with pushing our boys on. So like, or at least to those higher levels. So I think that was like, for me, that was what I had my eye on, was when he got the call up to go into the game. I was like, okay, what kind of response are we going to have? Are there going to be some boober? I mean, the guy, he hasn't made his choice official yet, so it would be kind of stepping over or I guess a little bit, to kind of like start to boo him or react negatively, and I wouldn't expect that from the fans either, but it was good to see, very good to see that they reacted well, I thought. How about for you, Delonte? Got a feel-good moment from the game, or?
The only one I think I would say, like Norm said in the chat, is the goal and the final whistle. That's it. It was actually the final whistle, actually. It is that winning the game. That's it. The only good feel moment for me.
Okay. All right. Since everyone's talking about that reaction that we saw from Trent, was Trent Alexander-Arnold's goal like the most emotionally charged moment of the season so far, you'd say? Was that like somewhat reminiscent of like that kind of like bring up a little bit of a fever pitch of recognizing and realizing that we're only one game away from and that's one game away, whether Arsenal win outright, from this point on, we're still just one game away. And it was like that. It was obvious that goal meant something, as Brian pointed out. And it was obvious that he hasn't forgotten he hasn't forgotten where he's coming from, I guess you could say. Do you think that was like symbolic of our year right there? That emotion that just kind of boiled over to a fever pitch right there on that goal? I'll ask that to Nolante to start this one.
A little bit, but I think there's more to do with Trent in it, because again, I mean, we all recognise he's leaving, but obviously there's still the little thing, the quiet keeps, and people are now saying, potential U-turns. Again, everyone's reporting, and because of Van Dijk and Salah, and he still hasn't come out. Some people say he's still negotiating with both teams. He still hasn't made his mind up. Who knows? But yeah, so I guess a lot of that, the emotion of that, and getting back on the pitch to the final games of the season, and like you said, you just summed it up nicely. One game away from winning another league title with the club, and that could be him departing on a high in terms of the club, like that. Regardless if he's going to Madrid. So, a number of factors, I reckon. But yeah,
big up Alexander, by the way. Big up. I did just see this too. Maybe Norm can confirm. I'm sure Norm was most likely at the game. But Edward said this. Maybe Norm can confirm this if he was at the game. He says, I heard Trent get booed by some fans. One of the Redmen TV was there, and said there were boos. Okay.
Yeah, there would be. I won't be surprised. There will be a small little.
It wasn't audible, at least. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I didn't hear it, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear it that much. It's very, minute. But yeah.
Yeah. They certainly weren't booing when he scored that goal, I'm sure. But Norm is saying this also. I will say this: the first half showed me we do need a big summer, and why he says that it's because it is so obvious players are tired, and he does not trust the others. Yes, certainly. We'll get into that more too. We'll definitely get into a little bit more, because I do have some questions about some of the selections that he made. Also, maybe just about, with the selections that he's made, were they more of a shout for this team is tired? Maybe it was a shout for other things. We're going to give that And then, yeah, Edward says they stopped when he scored. I bet they did. Mark A, big up Mark A, by the way. Mark A says this team is crying out for Ryan Cherky. Okay. All right. The reason why, and this real quick question, how is Ange still managing Spurs? They're in 16th place. The reason why he's still in my opinion, the reason why he's still managing Spurs, still has a job. Otherwise, he certainly would have got fired probably earlier this year. But the reason why I believe he's still at helm is because their team is still on the verge of possibly securing a Champions League berth and a Europa title, which they would certainly treat as almost as if it was a Premier League or a Champions League in itself. I'm sure for Spurs fans. But before I get into some of these more comments too, I'm going to read out your comments too. I see you guys are definitely chiming in. I'm going to not be rude and say hello to our other panelists here. Bernie's in the house. Big up, Bernie. How are you doing?
Hi, 12. Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. Just I was listening in the background, and anyway, Brian was sent me the link, so I hope you don't mind me coming in.
Oh, I don't mind. Absolutely. It's a blessing. Thank you very much for joining us. And I was just going to ask you, if you had a feel-good moment from yesterday's game, was that, that moment where you're just like, the moment that kind of like warmed your heart, or maybe something that like stuck out to you that made you like happy to be watching it live?
Yeah, for me it was the fans. Really, I thought they lifted the team from the minute, from before the whistle went to after the whistle went, and they were still going even when Trent was at the end being interviewed. They sang hearts out, and it made me so proud, to be a Liverpool fan. I just thought they're absolutely fantastic, our fans, especially the away fans.
Yeah, absolutely. So the traveling supporting fans, I think, are just incredible. The fact of like how they bring, it's almost as if they know they have to bring twice the energy that they have wherever they go, so that they stand out, and because you're a couple thousand versus thousands at those pitches. So
yeah, they sing for like 5 people each, don't they?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Norm was saying that he said that all he heard was the Trent song as he was warming up. He said he promises that he never heard any booing. Maybe there was, but he never heard it. Interesting. Okay, I didn't hear it audibly on the telecast. So
I think that Trent getting that goal has probably been the best boost for him if he is leaving, because I think a lot of the fans who've turned on him may have seen, just what that goal meant to him as well. So I've gone from not wanting him to go, thinking he's horrible for going, with on a free and all the rest of it. If he is going, we still don't know. But I've come full circle and think the guy's given us such a such a long, many years of service to us, and his heart and soul was for us. So, I think we should let him go with good grace if he decides to go, and hope he does well, as long as it's not against us.
yeah, okay. Yes. Big up. I just saw a name that I haven't seen in quite some time. Big up, Paul Smith. But definitely big up. We don't always see eye to eye on our opinions, but we also have enough respect for each other to at least hear each other out. That's how it is. So I'm happy to see Paul joining us today. So big up, Paul. Big up. He's also saying, let's see. He's saying that he doesn't think that Dominic Szoboszlai is the answer, I guess, basically, is what he's trying to say. I would say like it's going to be interesting to see what happens with our number 10 position. Like I was surprised because we've all been asking for it. We got to see Harvey Elliott yesterday. Was that not a surprise to some, or? Oh goodness gracious! I'm sorry, Ant. You're more than welcome to invite Ant on the channel too.
Sorry, it had to be us, Ant. Sorry, it had to be us.
Ant, if you want to come, if you want to join the show, be sure. Maybe Brian can send you a link or something. If you want to join the show, you're more than welcome to have your say on. Yeah, I'm sorry it had to be us that had to send you down to the championship, but I think that you guys already knew that's where you guys were headed with the performances that you've been having as of late. So. Okay. Cool. But Bernie, were you surprised to see Harvey get in the game, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about that, what you were saying, and I feel sorry for Harvey because, without him getting a full game, and he's only getting so many minutes each time, we're not really getting to see just how match fit he is or just how good he can be. So I think it's, in a way, it's nullifying how good, we can't really judge him because he's not getting long enough, and B, his experience isn't growing. So it was good to see him on there, but I'd like to see him get a full game, really. And we were saying before, on Brian's channel, if some of these players who we think maybe moved on, but we won't know unless we give, if we win the league on Sunday, we've got to get for the rest of the season. We've got to get these other players in and see whether they're good enough to hold their place before we go off buying somebody else. And they've got to be given a full match, I think. Full game time.
Okay. How about for you, Brian? Were you surprised to see Harvey as well? Or was that not, or it was maybe Elliott wasn't the biggest surprise to see at least get onto the pitch? Where you may be surprised by someone else being a part of you could say, the starting lineup. But I mean, I was surprised when I saw Harvey get the call relatively early too, by the way.
Do you think Slot's watching your?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so and don't hope so sometimes because I can be a little bit harsh on Arnie. But I hope so.
Go ahead. I'm just going to try and get this thing to hand because I don't actually have him on here. I'm going to have to read. You go ahead. I'm just going to try and get sorted.
Okay. Nalante, how about for you, Nalante? Maybe as Bernie just suggested, maybe Arnie is watching our show. I know you've been very vocal about some of the substitutions as well as myself, but I mean I know you've been very vocal about rotation and some of the likes and about getting the looks at some of these players. We did have some notable players, not particular. I think what was crazy, and this wasn't a feel-good moment at all, but it was certainly a kind of like a kind of one of those moments where you're just like, wow, that's a weird feeling to see. And there was one part where they showed the bench, and sitting on the bench was Robbo and Trent, like talking to each other. They made like a little joke or something. I think Robbo said something that made Trent chuckle or smile. But it was just interesting that the two of them were on the bench. These are possibly two of our biggest mainstays when it comes to starters on our team, and to see them on the bench was kind of surprising.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you, Ant. Definitely.
I'll tell you what, 1-0 loss is our best result at home since December. I'll take it.
Wow. Is that how it is?
Take it where you can get it.
The thing is, I don't know if it was shown on on the TV watching it, but this sort of sums up where Leicester is as a club at the moment. You know, when the team news was being read out, Connor Cody got booed by the Leicester fans, Wout Faes got booed by the Leicester fans, and Didi got booed by the Leicester fans, Deco Dover-Reed did, like, as all of their names were getting read out. And it's like, if that's before the start of the game, you know it sort of sums up where we are. So
Yeah,
That's pretty
why would
rough.
why would he booing Cody though?
because
And shit.
all he does is talk. If he defended half as well as he could talk, he'd be a half decent footballer. He's on every podcast saying, "Oh, we need to stick in this together. We need to fight." It's like, shut the fuck up and just defend. Actually do your job instead of being on every podcast up and down the country saying how much we need to stick in it through the good times and the bad. And he was doing this all while on like 5 Live and all of that. And then he puts a transfer request in on deadline day.
Okay, that's a different story. I didn't
So
know.
I cannot
I
stand
didn't know he
him.
did that.
I
Yeah,
cannot stand him.
Yeah.
There you go. You ask, you're gonna find out.
Yeah.
So, the way that he talks, you would think he's had some like incredible career where he's been like to the top of the English game. Not a player that's had one good season in a back five at Wolves where he was absolutely protected. And as soon as they could bin him off, they did.
Mhm.
Sorry, in case you can't tell, I'm a little bit peed off at the moment with Leicester.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand that though, considering that you guys had much more higher hopes, I'm sure. I mean, you guys ran through the championship pretty much, you know, and you knew that, like, and I'll put it this way: I think that the quality and caliber of your team is certainly not championship level. I wouldn't put it that way, you know. So for you to get promoted again, I thought that you're going to have the ability to at least stay promoted, you know. So I think it's being disappointed.
It's not even getting relegated. I've seen us get relegated before, like 3 or 4 times. It's how it's happened. It's like a team has just completely given up, and we've basically been relegated since December. You've got players walking about, the pitch not caring. You've got a manager in Ruud van Nistelrooy who's absolutely fucking clueless, and like how he's still got a job is unbelievable. You've got an owner who's completely out of his depth, and you've got a squad that half of that team are not Premier League level. I did see Vardy's social media post, and I actually couldn't give less of a shit of what he's got to say at the moment, to be honest.
What did he say?
He was basically saying the season hasn't been good
sorry, basically.
The season hasn't been good enough, this, that, and the other. And it's like, it hasn't been.
It was a nothing quote. It was an absolute nothing quote. It's like, I'm really disgusted to get relegated. Sorry.
But you notice, though,
we'll be back.
You know what? Every time there's anything negative that comes out from any of the players that have been here for a while, oh, we've had great success at the club, though. And it's like, you have, but you can't keep referring to that every time you fuck up every couple of years. And it's like, and you look at coincidentally, I think like 6 or 7 of the favoured players by the fans, so Ricardo Pereira, Vardy, Mads Hermansen, all of those coincidentally put very similar statements out saying very similar things at the same time. It's like, you probably didn't even write it yourself. And if you really cared, you would have showed it from January onwards, not after you've been relegated, putting in half a shift against Liverpool. It's like, you know, when you're like, actions speak louder than words, and we've seen your actions this season. You could not give less of a shit.
And could I ask you a question?
Crack on.
You just mentioned about the owner. I know, obviously, I know you lost your owner, which was really sad. And it's his son now, isn't it? That's taken over. Does he not? Is he nowhere near as good as the other? His father.
Nowhere near, like absolutely nowhere near. I don't know if it was again shown on the game yesterday. There was fans still inside the ground well after full time saying sack the board, we want Rudkin out, and like all of that stuff. There was a plane that went over the stadium saying about King Power, about clueless amateur decisions. It's like Vichai was the best thing that ever happened to Leicester.
Yeah.
But his son he's a billionaire's son, so he's inherited everything. He's never had to work for it. Vichai was as ruthless as they came. He got rid of Nigel Pearson, and everyone sort of looked at him and was like, that's very harsh. Same with Ranieri. Whereas Top is as lenient as he comes. He's too friendly with everyone, and he's just not a businessman or a football man. So it's like it's one of those. There was a huge amount of goodwill for him to start with because of obviously how he lost his dad at the club, which was very tragic, and him trying to take over. But that goodwill runs out after about 4 or 5 years of bad decisions.
You know, when you see him, you know, whenever I've seen him at the club or walking around, he does look a little bit clueless. You know, I know that sounds awful, but he looks like it's more of a game for him. He doesn't look like he's taking it seriously.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And you know what sums that up? Yesterday, full time, when it was confirmed that Leicester were relegated, there was him in his box having a laugh with his mates. Like, you would think if your club had just been relegated that you own, you would at least put a front on of looking fuming.
Yeah, I mean that's a disgrace, isn't it? You know, to be there and when you're relegated and to be laughing. I mean, I don't know what the hell the guy's thinking.
So I don't know.
I did hear your fans. Aaron.
I've been.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go on, mate.
Yeah, go ahead, Anne. Finish up what you're saying.
I was going to say, it's difficult because I've been a Leicester fan for, now 20 years, and I've been pretty much everywhere. And I've been there before King Power took over. I've been here, obviously, now. This is the most disconnected I've felt from Leicester. I've seen plenty of crap teams in my time. It's the fact that they just look like they don't care. That's what really, really bothers me.
Checked out.
And fans can tell that straight away.
Fans
can tell straight away.
Exactly.
I was just asking. I was just going to say, or not asking, but I was going to at least say, when watching the game, they showed the after. You know, obviously the game when people are, the players go over and show the love back to the crowd, and it didn't sound like they weren't booing them.
They very much were. I'm going to send a video to Brian actually.
Okay.
As well. They're very careful of where they show the fans at the King Power. I don't know if they do this at other stadiums. When they go to full time, it's always the family corner they go to.
You have a real family-friendly singing corner. All the happy clapping fans.
With your mom and dad or your wife is out there.
I'm going to try and. I don't know if you'll be able to share this, Brian, but this is sort of where I stand, which is one of the main parts of sort of like the vocal parts of the ground. And yeah, they didn't come too close over to where I was. I'll say that, but. Oh, hold on, where is it? I don't know if that's come through, Brian. I've sent it on Twitter, but it's like the media will say, "Oh, Leicester will bounce back, this, that, and the other." And I'm not convinced we will. I'm really not.
I agree. Like I just saw Dustin say it didn't look like Leicester wanted to stay in the Premier League, but maybe they didn't. Meaning like they weren't. This is one of their best games I've seen them play. Actually, to be honest with you, I haven't watched much of Leicester. I'll keep it 100. But
they played better for me.
I genuinely can't think of a game that we've played better. Maybe Spurs away, but that's in December.
Right, exactly. I mean, you haven't scored since December or something. Not scored, excuse me. I haven't. What was the? You haven't won since December or January or something like that.
We haven't won since December the 4th.
Mad, yeah. Yeah.
It's just shit. Like, it is just awful. Like, I laugh at it now, but I am fuming.
Yeah, you're laughing yeah, I get that.
Just laugh the pain away a little bit.
Yeah, before you go on the X rant. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because if you think about it too much, you're just gonna get mad.
Well, let me ask Anne something. Anne, regarding Rude, do you think the chairman just picked Rude mainly due for the personality name instead of management? And if so, I mean, he probably be sacked or whatever. Who in your recommendation and would you get in? Because I know, like you said, I agree with you. I think next season in the championship it won't be straight going up. I think there'll be quite a bit in the outs. And also, yeah, what about those 2 points, Anne? I'm just curious.
I don't know what the fuck he was thinking getting Rude, to be honest. I have absolutely no idea. I don't know if it was like those 4 games he had in charge in Man United or what it was. Like, at the start of the season, going for Steve Cooper, if it was just Steve Cooper who wasn't sort of a Forest legend and what he was, I reckon it would have been a half decent appointment. But because it was Steve Cooper, like, it put the fans, like, it put the as soon as it started going south, which it was going to in terms of the season we were going to have, at some point we were going to go through a rough patch. Because it's Steve Cooper, it was always going to turn sour because he's a Forest man. Ruud van Nistelrooy was a fucking stupid appointment, and then not to back him in January is ridiculous. But
yeah,
in terms of next season, I think it will be Russell Martin who takes over, but I want it to be Danny Roll.
Yeah, Russell Martin, I think he's overrated. I mean, I'll call him the PE teacher.
Yeah, the thing is, I quite like Russell Martin, but I think the move to the Premier League with Southampton came quite quickly. But I also think that whoever we've got getting has got to be backed, which hasn't happened this time. So,
oh yeah, I got that video, and put it up there. Hang on. This is Ant and the boys, the King Power.
Sack the board! 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 Sack the board!
That was quite quiet there. Like, it was much louder. Obviously, man, through the video, it don't sound quite as loud, but there's absolutely loads of it, and that went on for ages.
Yeah,
That's
it.
That's raw.
What, and singing voice or the crowd?
Yeah. You know, James, we spent 44 million this season. It's not even. We could have spent 30 million. We could have spent 100 million. It's what we've spent it on. It has been absolute shit.
Yeah,
absolute. The young left back was good yesterday. The young left back had a great game against Mo Salah.
Luke Thomas. Yeah,
did he?
He did well. He kept Salah quite quiet, considering. But we spent what 15 mil on a Coley, can't get a game. We've spent 10 million on Jordan Ayew, 20 million on Ollie Skip. It's like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, that was bizarre. 20 million Oliver Skip. I'm not sure he's even a real footballer, man. I don't know about that at all.
You know what's a worrying thing? He still looked like one of our better players yesterday, and he's absolute dog shit.
Oh, it's Skip, eh? Skip.
Oh, it's actually tragic.
Well, I've been saying like for the last couple of shows, because we're building up to yours, and I was hoping you get a chance to come on some of the earlier ones in the build up, but I don't mind that. I've been saying, like, since, like, you can go down, right? Teams go down all the time. And I want to know if someone can figure out for me, in terms of since he started, and he's had a good run, compared to other managers who've had similar runs, how bad is Van Nistelrooy? Because I think he has to be up there.
He's the lowest points per game manager of anyone who's managed over 20 games, I believe.
There you thank you. Yeah. So he's basically one of the worst managerial appointments of all time. But a squad like yours, I just think like, yeah, you can go down, you can get relegated. It can happen in the season. Things are changing, whatever. But for a squad like yours, it's bad. I know you're saying it's bad, but compared to some of the others, to have the results you've had, 8 games at home without scoring a goal. I mean, that's kind of record-breaking type of stuff. It's not just bad form. That's worst of all time type shit.
I
think it's just unacceptable.
We're also the team that's conceded the most goals within the first 10 minutes in Premier League history as well.
But the other one, before we move on, I just wanted to ask, how, I know you've made efforts and you've done things, but like, how in God's name, how in the world, like, and for everything he's done, can a team like Leicester still be starting a 38-year-old, 39-year-old Jamie Vardy up front?
Yeah,
how have you not managed to move on from that?
Yeah, that was going to be my question too.
He was non-existent, wasn't he, yesterday? I was watching him and I thought, when's he going to play?
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid because Daka's absolutely shit. But within the last 15 minutes of the game, Daka did more in terms of stretching your defence than Vardy did in, 75 minutes? And Daka didn't do much, to be honest. He only made a couple of runs in behind. But then this comes back to the ownership and the board. How have you let a 38-year-old Jamie Vardy be the man leading a line in the Premier League?
Yeah.
And expect to try to stay up. And what's, like, let's just say he was, so if he was suspended tomorrow, so like Daka is his backup, is it? Is that your backup to Vardy? Is Daka, who's not even a striker? Well, he kind of is.
Oh, he's a striker.
He's barely a footballer, let alone a striker.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of.
But the stupid thing is, saying about stupid decisions our board have made. We loaned in Edouard this season. It's cost us £8 million in terms of wages and loan fee for him to be loaned in. He can't even get a kick when
Hudson Edward, the striker that was at Celtic.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace. Yeah, that is stupid. That is silly. That's ludicrous.
But he can't even get a kick when Vardy and Daka were both injured. He then played Bobby Decordova-Reid, it's like watching someone running quicksand.
He's really bad. No, even I don't know. Like, I obviously don't watch, but Decordova-Reid is really
well.
good.
If he can make it in the Premier League, there's still hope for all of us.
Yeah.
Well, tell you, managers pick the favourites, isn't it? So talk about Eduardo, and the same with Chiesa. Slot is Chiesa is like a hologram. He's a ghost. So yeah, just goes to show.
For you guys, at least when Chiesa's not playing, you've got other actual footballers there. We've got Vardy, who should have retired last year. Daka, who can't control a football, and it's actually like.
Do you remember it was him and Diaby?
I just want to cry.
Is he locked in though? Because I heard that a while ago that it's like he's locked in for the championship. The manager, is that true? Are you going to have to deal with this next year in the championship?
Oh, don't, because I was just about starting to come to terms with the fact that we'll be playing Plymouth and everyone again.
Vardy's having to pay the legal fees for Rebecca. Was it Rebecca's wife against Colin Rooney?
He'll be fine. He's absolutely minted. But I one of those things where it's like I love Vardy, but I just don't want to see him playing like this anymore. It's actually painful to watch.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need that. I remember being terrified of that guy. I remember being terrified of him.
It's like your hero, isn't
that's
it?
Long gone. Long gone.
Yeah. I don't think the net spend is the reason that we need new ownership or a restructure of the board. I think because when we were at our best, our net spend was negative. It's the fact that our recruitment has become absolutely awful. It's like you look at Brighton. If you get your recruitment right, you don't need to spend huge money.
Right.
Yeah, you've got your £200 million training ground, right? Best in Europe.
Yeah, well, that was a
What good are those facilities if you ain't going out and getting proper players in the door?
Or a proper manager to coach them. It's not. You know the expression, like, all the gear and no idea?
Yeah.
That literally just sums up Leicester City. Like, we've got all of the facilities, all of, like, everything that should be there. It's just absolutely no idea. But
Yeah.
Abdul saying about we sacked Ranieri after he won the league, but not Rude. Two different owners. Two different ownerships.
Point you're making earlier on about being rootless.
Yeah, exactly. But to be fair, I feel like this has been a bit of a therapy session for me. I'm feeling much better.
You feel a little better?
But as long as you remember that we're laughing with you and not at you.
Oh, I've been laughing at us all season. One question for you guys, though, because as much as I think we were tragic, the goal that got ruled out, do you think that was correct to get ruled out, or do you think that was very harsh? Because I thought it was very harsh, but at the same time, I'm half happy it did because I didn't want Conor Cody the satisfaction of scoring a goal.
Right.
So,
it was in this. That was a question I was going to bring up. That is something that in this league, in the settings that they have for the protections they have for the goalkeepers, yes, I think that's a goal you get ruled out. Because he did basically he did interfere and play the goalkeeper more than the ball, I think, when it came up against Ali. But it could have been, what they normally accept or they normally call for a lot of corners and a lot of these like set pieces and free kicks and likes. It's basically just you're just at the mercy of what the interpretation is going to be and then the fact that it was ruled on the pitch that way made it a lot more harder to overturn. I think
it was one of those. I thought whatever the referee originally gave was going to stick as a decision. So if the goal had been given, I don't think it would have been then overturned. But
right, if it was vice versa, and it hadn't been called on the pitch, but then it got asked to be looked at by VAR, then I don't know if it would have got overturned.
Yeah. What about? I don't know why. I've seen some Leicester fans moaning about this, but to be honest, I haven't watched the highlights back, and I've got absolutely no intention of doing so. But your goal. Apparently, there was a head injury in it or something.
Okay. Well, all right. So when it comes to that, I understand that they probably want to stop the game because of the injury, but unfortunately, I think I see if you get injured or hit or knocked in almost any part, I think it's the natural reaction to see people automatically go and grab their head. I'm not saying
I don't agree. I don't agree with the rule, like the fact that if it's a head injury, you should stop the game because people do just grab their head when you get in a dangerous pitch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
But it's like you can't say if it's a head injury, you've got to stop the game, and then if there's a head injury, we don't stop the game. But to be honest, if you hadn't scored then, I was still convinced the goal was coming regardless.
Yeah, the pressure was ratcheting up definitely right there, and I think that unfortunately it wasn't. I think also maybe because it wasn't in the way that because they were asking for a foul first off. Originally they were asking for a foul. That's what was being said. I understand you're saying it's the head injury is what they're trying to get the play stopped for. But originally, they were the commentators here were saying, "Oh, they're asking for a foul, or they're looking for a foul." And I'm like, "Well, that was two, Leicester players going into each other. It had nothing to do with Liverpool player involved in it." And yeah,
it's one of those though. Like, and again, it makes no difference in the grand scheme of things because regardless, we were going down. You're going to win. Whatever happened yesterday, you're going to win the league and have been the best team in the league this season. But I just don't understand how on one that goal gets given if there is a head injury when at any other time on the pitch that would get stopped if a player's gone down holding their head. But
right.
Again, it is what it is. And actually, this is going to sound really strange. I'm kind of glad, and I hate saying this. Right. I'm kind of glad you beat us yesterday because I just wanted the relegation confirmed. We've known it's been coming since December, but for it to actually be confirmed, and now the fact we're starting to look, all the rumours are starting to come out about what we're going to do next year. So I feel like if there was still something to play for, I'd be a lot more annoyed about that than I am.
Okay.
But
yeah,
to be honest, I feel pretty numb to it.
I was going to say, your youth academy is not that bad, I don't think, by the way.
Our youth academy is the one.
Considering that we have one of your most promising stars now.
And still haven't paid the compensation for him.
Trainioni is going to be a talent, man. I think Trainioni is going to be a talent.
Yeah, the thing is, that's one things I'm really positive about Leicester at the moment is the fact of we've got a lot of good youth players on the verge of breaking through. So maybe a year in the Championship with you likes of Ben Nelson, Will Alves, Luke Thomas.
Is this the time to get those players maybe acclimated into the team and not necessarily try to? I know you want to push, obviously, to get back up into the league, but there's no way you're going to do that with youth academy players.
No, but if you can have a good balance.
Yeah, okay. I'm just asking the question. Yeah.
I think we can have a good balance, and then as long as I don't have to see your likes of Decordova-Reid, Jordan Ayew, and Vestergaard next season, I'm happy.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a hurting settings right there.
Of all the players that got booed when their name was being rung out, who got it with the most gusto?
Connor Cody.
I knew it was.
Or Wout Faes.
He really don't like him, do you?
You really don't like that guy.
Oh.
Connor Cody or Wout Faes. The thing is, Connor Cody is one of those. One of those players that comes out in every interview and talks the game. It's like, it's not annoying if you're doing well and you've got a player doing that. You think fair enough. Yeah. But it's when you're playing shit week after week after week and you're still doing like your 5 Live podcasts. You're on Sky Sports. You're on Monday Night Football. It's like, just reel your neck in, get your head down and shut up.
It's just a little bit too much. It's all talk, no real. Yeah. After a while.
Well, if you're on all those shows and stuff, that's you don't want to see you want to see him at the training ground getting his head down, not doing interviews with Kelly Gates or doing Monday Night Football. Yeah, exactly. You're a captain, he's captain, right?
No, he's
Vardy's captain.
Yeah, and then Ricardo Pereira is vice captain.
And given that the worst has happened, like you're going down, do you?
I saw that, Ryan.
Do you think that the shareholders might, be looking at the owner, and do you think there could be any change there, because of what's happened?
Well, they did an internal review last time we got relegated, which was basically them marking their own homework. And it's like if you marked your own homework as a kid, you're going to say you did fantastically. And shock horror, the director of football and all of the members of the board that got us relegated last time have made shit decisions for another 18 months, and we've got relegated again, even worse way than before. So if it was still Vichai in charge, heads would have rolled and a lot of people would have lost their jobs. But I've got no faith in Top to do any of that. He's far too soft.
Yeah, what a shame.
Maybe if Ange doesn't win, you can hire Ange or something.
At least he'll be box office.
At least play good football.
I'd love to see Ange arguing with some angry Leicester fans away at Plymouth.
I think Ange would be a very good fit for Leicester.
Mate, could you imagine if it's going down south though, like us really struggling and like a Friday night game in Plymouth with him arguing with Leicester fans after we've been battered 4-0.
Oh, you have to be there for it, wouldn't you?
Box
You
office.
have to be there for it. Yeah, exactly. Bring it back. Make it happen. Yeah, perfect.
2-1. 2-1 is the
You
final.
need someone that cares.
Oh, excuse me, Ben.
I think as fans, from what I can hear from what you're saying, I think you just need someone that cares, be it the manager, be it the owner, be it player. You just need someone that visibly cares about what's happened to the club and wants to change it. And that's a good starting point.
Yeah, literally. And that's why I'd quite like Russell Martin, because for the fact, even though he's not the most sort of, I know he struggled this year with Southampton, he clearly cared.
I was going to see real quick I saw your actual players you have on your team, but I want to check out something real quick before I comment on
it. Yeah, I know Max was saying it was Waffle, that it was clearly a goal. I think JK wasn't.
His new name is Mad Max, by the way. Max.
JK thought the same. JK thought it was a goal. He thought it should have been allowed. Now, I'm the same as you. It's like it doesn't really matter that much because that's getting given as a foul. Every time that's getting given as a foul. And there was enough of it in when you watched it back to see that he knew he was going to play the man.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, the goalkeeper is a little bit weak because the goalkeeper knows, act like you've been steamrollered, you get contact in the box, act like you've been knocked over, you're going to get the foul. So it's getting given, and I still think even in it's getting given because it's a foul. Just before that, I still think there was enough of kind of intent to not play the ball, and to knock the keeper out for it still to be a foul, even in the older kind of way of looking at it. But yeah, Ali could have been stronger and could have held on to it, but
I wanted to see.
It's getting given every time. This day and age, it gets given every single time.
And by the way, we're coming up on the hour mark. Before we get into these ratings, I was just looking and see real quick. Yeah, so I don't know if Vardy's going to play for your team next year or not. I mean, this is his last year on his contract. Looks like it's Winks got 1 year left, or after this we'll have 1 year left, and then Edouard has 1 year. But why I'm bringing up those names?
He's only on loan, isn't he?
Your wage budget is incredibly low considering you've only got one player that makes over £100,000 a week, and that's Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, but our wage is ridiculously high because it's like you've got players like you've got Vardy who's on 140k a week, but that's from old contracts of when we paid that when he was worth it, and he sort of hasn't taken a pay cut since. But then you've got players like Harry Winks, Connor Cody on 80 grand a week. You've got players like Luke Thomas on 40 grand a week, Danny Ward on 40 grand a week. So you've got a lot of very poor footballers on wages that are well above their value. Because it's like, I compare us to Brighton and
who is that? Who are the players? Because I mean, like, Winks makes 90,000. So maybe if you want to say him, I got you. Harry Winks.
Yeah. Like, Yannick Vestergaard, 85,000. Connor Cody, 80,000.
Yes. Those are Cody, 75,000, but yeah, 75 to 80, same thing.
Wout Faze, I think 60,000.
But considering all things considered, those are modest.
They're not modest for non-big six clubs though, because it's almost two different things. If you compare our wage bill to your likes of Forest, your likes of Brighton and stuff, you look at the level of players that they've got on those kind of wages compared to the level of players that we have, it's night and day difference.
Okay.
Harry Winks on 90 grand a week.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That's more than a lot of players at Liverpool.
Yeah.
More than Diaz, more than Ibu, more than that's how like you say, the people that were handing out those kind of contracts, those are the people that should be scoring badly in your
It's like
review of the year. I think
It's
who
like
gave
Jordan-
him 90 grand a
Okay,
week.
I'm looking at Forest. Who else did you say too? You had Forest. Oh, you said Brighton. Okay.
Brighton.
Let me see
And
who's
those-
it's looking like. Because I can understand
Yeah,
Forest
yeah.
is extremely low too. Their highest paid on theirs is 105,000.
yeah, and
Morgan
but
Gibbs.
you look at
White.
the quality of players that they've got on
What was his name? Malenkovic.
that. Milenkovic.
Yeah, but the other guy, they've got 2 or 3. Milinkovic, yeah, because they got him. Morgan Gibbs White, they spent a lot of money on him. They've another.
Well, I know.
guy.
I'm just telling you what the
Yeah, they'd be all up around.
Milenkovic is the highest per.
Yeah.
They might have got. Maybe they got also like heavy signing bonuses when they signed or something like that. But they
Our wage bill is horrendous.
and Brighton's wage bill is surprisingly low too. Holy crap! There's 87,000.
Yeah, for the quality, it's not even the wages though; it's the quality of the player that you're getting.
Yeah, no,
It's
agreed.
just
Agreed.
crazy.
But-
Yeah,
It's like I believe
Connor
I don't know if
Cody
this
on
is still
80
the
grand a
case,
week.
but
Jesus.
I don't know if this is still the case, but our wage bill is the 8th highest in the league. For the shit
The
that we are.
last time, and I brought it up a million times. The last time you were relegated, the previous time, it was the highest wage bill that had ever been relegated from the Premier League. Now,
And to be
squad
fair,
value is different. It was like
I
the
underst-
highest squad value ever, but it was the highest wage bill ever. So
what is
you pay a lot
I
of money.
understood
to
it
a
more
lot of
then
average
though,
players.
when you had players like Tielemans, Barnes,
Yeah,
Maddison,
exactly.
etc. I understood why the wages were as high as they were at that time. Now we've got fucking Yannick Vestergaard and Danny Ward. It's like,
Yeah,
Jesus.
Danny Ward basically making the same money that, well, he's making 4 times what Curtis Jones is, but that's comparable because you bought him. That's your one of the beginnings of your Liverpool cast off nightmare. Is when we gave you him.
Oh, what?
12 million quid for Danny Ward. Thank you very much.
Well, I just saw looking at Brighton. Jeez, I cannot believe Baleba makes 12,500 a week for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Sign him up. I'm sure his agent is looking at that contract and saying that does not fit my player currently. We need to do something about that. Either that or we need to find a new team. Maybe in red, maybe. I know a lot of people in our chat love that player. I'll ask this last question from you, Ant. What is, if anything, who do you think is going to be finding the exit door? Who do you think is going to be finding, like, as in what players do you think aren't going to be joining you in the championship?
What? That I don't want to, or that I don't think will.
I don't think so. Maybe what players do you think will possibly garner looks from the teams in the Premier League to stay up? With
Not
right,
on that,
so
not on those
I think
wages. Not on those wages, mate.
What'd you
think
say?
Blair-
I'm just saying, not like the point he's just been making. Some of those boys that he might want to get rid of, that they're on Cody, Skip, or Wings, they're on 80, 90 grand a week. There ain't nobody taking them off your hands.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Bilal El Khanous will go. I think Walt Faze will go. Thank God. Buonanotte, we won't be able to sign him. Ayew will go. Daka will go. Ndidi will go. Hermanson will go.
Are there any
Connor
names
Foden
on there
will
that you see going, or maybe
the ones that I see going, not the ones that I want going? Because
right. But what are these names that you're mentioning? Which one of those names is the most like? I know he's going to push to go, even though I would love for him to stay because he's like the most talented player on your team, or he's because he brings this to the team, or whatever.
Bilal El Khanous.
El Khanous is the big hope there, yeah.
But he's got a relegation release clause, so he'll be off. So does Mads Hermanson.
Okay.
But
because he has a 4-year deal basically, or 4 years left on his deal. So
yeah,
interesting. But he's only making again 35,000.
which is what players that we're signing should be making to start with. I don't know why we're signing players that are putting them before they've even done anything for us, putting them on 60, 70 grand a week.
Well,
yeah, people are going to take the piss out of your club if you do that.
Yeah,
and they have done, and you can't blame them. We're an agent's wet dream. You see us coming a mile off.
By the sounds of it, has been for the last couple of years. I mean, I can't get over Harry Winks on 90 grand a week. 90. That's insane.
I actually quite like Winks as a footballer, but he's 90 grand a week is an absolute joke.
it is and it isn't. I don't know. It's weird because if you look at our player wages, some of the wages that our players are on this team, on Liverpool at least, they're all over the place as well. So many players make, so many players maybe he has less incentives for, team things or team milestones to make or maybe
just Harry Winks, man, 90 grand a week. Don't make sense.
I got you.
The thing is, though, clubs like Liverpool,
you ain't selling that to anybody.
I got you.
Certainly not a Leicester fan.
The thing is, though, you say about the Liverpool wage bill, you guys can get away with that more because of FFP and like the more allowances you've got, so you're allowed to have a bigger wage bill. We can't, so we've got to be a lot more sensible with it, and we haven't. We've been absolutely stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you cool with the points deduction stuff? By the way,
currently,
I have no idea, but I would like. It's one that you just wait and see what the EFL throw at us in the summer.
Yeah, because that happens sometimes when a club gets relegated. Then, it turns out, you're still getting done for FFP for the previous year.
Well, they're going to want to throw the book at us because I don't know if you remember our court case earlier on this year where we made them look stupid.
Yeah, we do.
So it's like they are going to want to absolutely throw the book at us.
Yeah, and all the time City's getting away with it. It's ridiculous.
To be fair, I don't even blame City. I blame the rules because they're written in such a stupid way where there's loophole after loophole after loophole. So if you leave that many loopholes there to be exploited, they're going to be exploited. Like the way the financial rules in the Premier League are written, they are there just to be taken advantage of.
But I will say this. I get what you're saying, but I think there are rules. Those rules are necessary. I see some people go as far as to say, throw out the rules. We don't need the rules that are set up for FFP and the likes. If the team has the money, they should be able to spend it. And I get all those types of things or those concepts. But then you'll have situations where some of these teams that can't have these wage bills that can compete with other teams will find themselves being, bullied out or pushed out of any hopes of making any real movement in the league or even staying power in the league. And that's unfortunate.
It's a balancing act, isn't it? Because I know as much as I found it funny at the time, but Derby County going absolutely hell for leather to get in the Premier League, paying well above what they could afford.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, they ended up nearly going into administration and going down to League One and stuff. You don't want to see clubs going into administration, but I also don't think you want to see clubs not being ambitious because of the FFP ruling.
But that's what you're going to see, though. I mean, for instance, who was the team? I just lost it. There was a team that I want to say it might even be City, but there is one of the teams, for instance, that it was Chelsea. It's Chelsea, I believe. And because Chelsea sold off their properties, the hotels, and they sold off, they sold their female team, their ladies team to themselves in essence, but they still considered it to be a profit. Like the financial maneuvering that they're doing is pretty wild, but UEFA is still going to find them. Like as in UEFA is still going to those moves that they made to cover themselves in the Premier League, they're like, okay, well, Premier League wants to accept that. That's one thing, but UEFA's not accepting that. So they still have to figure out some way to get around that, especially if they're looking to get into these other aspects of Europe. So there's a lot of different things going on.
I find mad that, do you know Chelsea were allowed to sell those hotels to themselves and it to be cleared as FFP? But we tried to sell our own training ground to ourselves and that got rejected.
Yeah, because it's pretty dodgy, right? I
That
mean,
is so, I
they're
know.
both dodgy.
It's one thing
They're
is
both
hotels.
dodgy.
Yeah, you're selling your training facilities to yourself. That's
I mean,
like
it's not a
one of the
good
ones should
thing.
kind of like, say something.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's not a good thing, but I just don't understand how
what
Chelsea.
you're saying is no. You're saying it's one rule for, like, it's basically what it's done is it's pulled the ladder up. Is what it's done. It means that someone can come in, and I think this all goes back to like what they had this incredibly romantic and naive idea a long time ago that they could come up with this thing called a fit and proper persons test, which was basically the idea that, yeah, you can come in and take over a club and you can promise to do this and do that. But if you get bored or the stock market changes or world events happen, you're not just going to go hop on your bike and say, yeah, I'm out here now, and clubs go to the wall. That's what the whole idea was like, okay, people can take over clubs, but people were coming in that were making promises because money came into the game with Sky and the Premier League. So you have all these people trying to take over clubs and clubs that are 100 years old, and they throw all their dice for 2 seasons, put the club in a massive amount of debt. They leave and the club gets liquidated or relegated or dissolved. It's like they were trying to stop that stuff from happening. So the problem is, like you say, you're kind of it's incredibly difficult to say, okay, you're a billionaire, okay, you can come in and invest. But it's like this other guy, no man, you're a super shady, you're pretending to be a billionaire. We can't let you take over a club and put it into debt. And it's a club that's 120 years old and it goes out of business because of you and your stupidity. So
Right.
they've tried to cover all the fucking bases here. Because there are clubs, Barry clubs have gone out of business purely because of bad owners coming in going, oh, we'll get to the upper echelons, and they get bored or they run out of money or the markets change, all that stuff. So it's so hard. Like, and I know it's like for fans like you go, yeah, but our owners have money, we can spend, and then they say no, but you only earn this much, so you can't. Like there is no perfect solution to this whatsoever. There
And
isn't.
you know what's
Pulls up the
even
ladder.
more stupid about this ownership thing test though? Chansiri at Sheffield Wednesday, but like absolutely horrendous owner and is like bleeding them dry of everything that they're worth. He was rejected from buying 3 Premier League clubs because he failed the ownership test, whatever. But then he passes the EFL's test for being a fit and proper owner.
Yeah, I mean, if there was an answer to this, we'd all be given it, wouldn't we? There is no answer to this. It's not perfect.
It's not.
It's
But if
crazy.
anything, it
It's
says
crazy.
that there should be higher bars to get into a club if you're going to be a part of something that's going to be in a multi-billion-dollar setup like the Premier League. I mean, it's very difficult, I would think, on how to lose money it should be very difficult on how to lose money as a Premier League team. But I know there are owners that go about doing it. There's also owners that sometimes spend like their fans, more so than spending like someone in a club that needs the right stewardship. And then there's also those owners out there that maybe take it too much like a business and don't spend enough to keep up. I get that. Trust me, I hear enough about that with FSG. So before we get into that, speaking of, because I just saw JK hop in the chat here. Pick up, JK. How you doing?
I'm all good, bro. How you all cool? Everyone else in the panel.
Hi, JK.
No, like to. And bless Benedict, hope you're cool. Brian, everyone.
Yeah,
And
we
kids
have
up
some
in there, yeah?
ratings to get into, but right before we do, I'll ask again. I'll ask a question to Bernie, and then ask JK and to give an answer to this one too. But do you not see it as a problem, or do you not think that there should be more more stewardship by the Premier League to look after the mid-table, if more so, the lower half of the league table teams, and helping them to continue to build up and be able to be actual contributing partners in the Premier League, as opposed to just, just, hey, you won the lottery to the Premier League, enjoy your 1 year stay, and then get relegated back and your parachute payments from us, from the Premier League for a couple of years. Hopefully you can work your way back. Do you think that there is? Because I saw an Ipswich fans on one of the channels talk about how, she sees teams like your Cities or your Chelseas that commit these FFP infractions and alleged infractions, yet like the teams that are trying to get to those levels, or at least compete on those levels, it's their voices are often not really heard. Do you think that's an issue and something that should be addressed, Bernie?
Yeah, I do actually, because it's like you say, that everybody's trying to improve themselves and get better. Obviously, the goal is to get to the Premier League, and a lot of those clubs are so small compared to the giants at the top, with all the money, with all the legal backing, and all the solicitors that they've got on board who study the rules with fine tooth combs and know not what they can do. They know all the loopholes of where they can save money and make money, and the smaller guys at the bottom are trying, and even to the share outs from. If you do really well, you're going to be on television more. You're going to get all the television rights, and your club's going to be able to compete better because of all the money that's going into it. And the little guys at the bottom are just struggling a bit. So yeah, I do agree with that. I think they should get more legal help, and I think they should get a better distribution of funds as well.
Right. That's my question, and I'll let JK and then I'll let answer it too. Like as and Nolante's back with us as well. Okay, I'll get Nolante back in the conversation as well. But it does seem like I am often told about the English football pyramid and how important it is to being substantial to each tier of the pyramid. Does matter. It's not just the top tier that matters, but there are those that think that just the top teams in the top tier matter. Like their opinions matter most or more. I know there was a fight, or I wouldn't say called a fight, but there was an effort, I would say, by some of the bigger clubs saying that they should have a bigger say in how the Premier League gets administered, as opposed to the other clubs in it. But the other clubs all have one vote, one club, one vote, So now you do have a bunch of teams, though, that you do have these teams that are kind of like stuck where they're at, where they are these middle tier teams that are good enough to not get relegated, but not even remotely good enough necessarily to compete for Champions League. But that it has expanded a little bit this year. I will admit that. It has expanded a little bit this year. But do you think there's a real issue that needs to be addressed, JK?
I always say that the club has to look after itself. You're in a league where everyone's sort of on the same page, bar the funds. The funds is a big major factor in how much each club can give to the guy who's running the game. To spend and to bring in players in. But you've seen over the years, look at Ipswich, Forest and all these teams. They're spending big, bro. Villa, West Ham. They spend more than this, these guys, It's all about Like, look at Man United and Chelsea. They've spent and wasted so much money. It's unbelievable. Why? Because they didn't have a guy like an Edwards. I'm bigging up Edwards first time ever. He knows who's a good player and how much he's worth. I think that's the major factor in all of this. If you're going to buy players who are worth not really the amount you're paying for them, you're going to waste a lot of money and you're going to end up getting relegated. And you're going to be in debt. So you've got to be really clever in who you buy. And I think when you look at Chelsea and I would just say Man City and Liverpool are the only two teams. And maybe Arsenal recently, like Declan Rice has stepped up. We paid a big money for him. But it's just how you spend that money and who you spend it on. It makes a big difference in everything.
Yeah, I was just asking this question simply. And big up to Ant, by the way. He just left, but hopefully he's still listening, so you can hear us say. No worries, no worries. Just gonna
happy
say,
wife. No, well, not quite happy. Not wife yet.
Yeah. If you think the fans weren't happy with the team, yeah, you don't want a Mrs. unhappy with the hubby.
Yeah, if you think Connor Cody was getting booed yesterday.
Exactly. But again, I thought that was something interesting just to maybe kick around a little bit, because I just think that I hear everyone's complaints. I see how some teams act as if there's nothing to see here when it comes to financial, responsibility, when it comes to trying to keep a team above that, above the, bankruptcy line, I guess you could say, for some of these teams, because some of them get very close, if not dip into that line. It's important that you have a well-run club, but then again, let's jump right into these ratings, if you guys don't mind. And I will we'll go one by one, I'll give the chat a vote, and then I'll give each one of you a vote on all these players, so you can tell me where you want. I have a rating already put in there, but I'll adjust accordingly to your ratings so that you can put in what your rating would be. All right. So let us give the chat the first rating, actually. And the first player on would be for Ali. I'll ask the chat what they had viewed on as for Ali. Ali was an interesting situation yesterday because he didn't have really much to do, per se. Didn't have much to be, wasn't tested that much. But was quiet, but had a steady game. Let me see if what the guys are rating him. Gave him a 60. Okay. I gave him actually. Put him on there too. I gave him a 62. I gave him like a 60, 65, something like that. I didn't think it was that great.
Yeah, he wasn't really tested. Clean sheet for me is a 7. Unless he saved a penalty.
He's trying to get that vote in, huh? Trying to get that vote in. All right.
I always give 7s as a minimum for clean sheets. And hi to Norman in the chat as well. Hope you're cool, man.
All right, I'll bump it to a C. That's your rating then. That's for JK in the chat. All right. Yeah, Norm gave him a C as well. All right. How about for Connor Bradley then? How we go with Delonte? How about for Connor Bradley?
Yeah, I thought Connor was all right. I had a little bit of trouble at times, but I thought he was all right. He was solid. Attacked well. You know what? I'm going to give Connor a B.
A B? Wow.
Yeah, I'll give him a B. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Chat went, I think Alexander went with a D for Connor Bradley. And Norm went with a C. I went with a C too. Going B. All right. How about, can we go like a C plus maybe then?
C plus, yeah, that's fine. C plus.
That
I don't think it's a C minus. Yeah, C plus is fine.
He had a couple bursts. gave some overlapping runs, held his own defensively. Could have gotten. I think he got lucky on one. He did get booked, but I mean, he did get lucky on one.
Also, he had to go at goal as well, didn't he?
What was that? What'd you say, Bernie?
He had a shot at goal as well.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He did. Given some problems first 20, then was fine. Yeah, he kind of settled into the game a little bit, but yeah, I agree with that. All right, how about for Bernie? You're up on Ibu. What was your rating for Ibu?
I'm just trying to think.
Dominant in the air, nearly scored. Has some loose moments, but held together.
Down a bit, wasn't he, Ibu? I think I'll give him a C.
A C?
Yeah.
All right. I gave him a D, but I'll bump that up. Everyone's giving him a C. I got you people. Alexander gave him a 17. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the captain. I'll let Brian answer this one. What was your rating for Virgil, Brian?
He had a few good chances. I thought he was going to score at one point. He seemed kind of frustrated, actually. He kept getting on the end of things, but couldn't make one happen. I thought he was going to score from a corner at one point. Quite enough day. C.
Okay. That's what I had him at as well. I had him at a C as well. Yeah. Roger got a C from Norm. Alexander gave him a solid D. Okay. All right. Grade. Whoops. All right. Well, then I'll stick with a C for Virgil. How about for Simi? We'll go for Simicast and Milante. You're on Simicast.
I thought Simicast was good. Thank God Slot didn't take him off after 60 minutes for no reason. I thought he was good. Solid C plus, man. I thought Simi, done well, man. Yeah, man, keeping him.
Okay. Let's see what he got. I gave him a C. Norm, those are for? I'm not sure if Norm and Alexander's ratings right there were for Simi or not, but actually, yeah, they were. I think. Yeah, Norm gave him a C. The rating. Okay. So what was your rating again, real quick, Simi, for Simicast?
C plus.
C plus. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What about his game made you say C plus? By the way, real quick.
No, I thought he's solid.
Okay.
To be honest, Leicester didn't do much on his side once or twice.
Do you think he deserved to be subbed out, or did you think that he should have gotten full 90 then, or?
Was he subbed out? I'm just trying to remember because I missed it. Was he? No, I don't think he was. Was he? He wasn't subbed out, was he?
I think he was subbed. Let me double check though.
Yeah.
He was delivering a kebab to Milante. That's why he's voting for him.
Yeah. Let me see. No, he wasn't subbed out. My fault.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, because you just confusing me to. I was like, what? He wasn't subbed out.
Yeah.
But no, he played well, man, and obviously took part. His crosses were good, which some of the players should have scored. So yeah, I thought he's decent, man. I'm just thank God Slot didn't decided to take him off for no reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well then, JK, I'll let you, since it'll be an unbiased opinion, because I can't give Gravy to Milante. I'll let you rate Gravy on this one.
Damn you, tough.
What was Gravy's rating for you?
I've noticed about Gravenberch since he had that little rest in the international break just gone. He seems to be advancing more with the ball forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you notice his game, I've noticed in every game now he's like looking to take the ball further, pass it. So I've seen that coming into his game, and he just looks better than he did before the international break. He looked battered before that. And I think it's good to see him just sort of looking sharper, you know what I mean? I think he played pretty well, so I'll give him a C as well.
Okay. Grab got a D from Norm, a 60 from Alexander. All right. Gave him a C, but with those grades from the chat, I'm gonna have to make it a C minus, I guess, at least. All right. Bernie, you get the rate McAllister. Macca. I thought Macca had one of the, out of all the players and starters, he probably had one of the best games out of all of them.
Yeah, I think he was man of the match, wasn't he? Didn't he get man of the match?
Yeah. Man of the match.
Yeah, he did on Sky. Yeah, he got on Sky.
I'll say a B for Macca.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I had him as I had him at a B too.
Yeah, B's about right, yeah.
I had him at a B as well. All right.
He was happy then, wasn't he?
Well, Brian gets to rate Dominic. How about that? We'll let Brian do Dominic.
I was swapped in with you, Brian. You could have had Gravenberch. I could have done some up today.
I know. It wasn't on purpose. It just happened to fall that way.
Yeah, I didn't want him to start. Very much leaning towards the nuclear option. Now with 2 years under his belt, very, very disappointing. But also, I said I don't overly enthuse about or massively have high hopes for the people who could have replaced him. I think Elliot is still better off the bench. But Elliot's a half an hour him. He didn't get quite half an hour, but is probably better than the last 4 performances. So it's just been terrible. It's been so poor. He's been so poor. What would I know? So you got an E, a 4. I would say, yeah, like you were asking about earlier on, I wasn't surprised he was taken off. I was hoping he might have been taken off on the hour. It's complete fail. E, F. What comes E? What's the lowest? F. Yeah, a total F, total fail. 20, 2 out of 10, whatever you want to put it. But just another nut. But I think a lot of that is on kind of the build up. On the individual game itself, he was probably like 4 out of 10. But because I've kind of had enough of him now, there's a little bit of you're getting an extra bad score because he did nothing. And yeah, it was the earliest. And I'm glad if somebody was going to come on for him, especially if somebody was going to start ahead of him, this might sound a bit, but if he was going to be dropped and we're going to play with somebody instead of him, I would have started Jones. But if we're taking him off and there's a half an hour left to go, I'm bringing on Elliott. I'm not bringing on Jones. So if that, I know it's like that's the way I'd look at it. I'd rather start Jones over him, but if I was bringing on someone for a half an hour and taking him off, I'd rather bring on Elliott than bring on Jones because Elliott has a lot more energy that way.
It's true the way you said that. Yeah. Jones.
Szoboszlai's worrying, really, isn't he? Because you know, at this stage now, and he's captain of his country, you think that we're going to get the same player every week, and we're not. it's really worrying for me. I think just when you start seeing him and you think, God, this guy's really got it, and he's teaming up with Mo and he's feeding Mo and he's exciting and he's getting into the box himself. And then the next week he hasn't turned up for school. It is worrying, really.
Yeah. No, it's like Norm was saying there. It's like this is home. Our whole thing about buying players is that we don't go out and spend 150 million, 120 million on the finished article. Our whole model, as it were, is to get a guy who's like 22, and it's like when he's 25, he could be one of the best in the world. So, but there's development there. It's not the finished article. So we're getting for 40, 50, 60 million, but we're not bringing in players who are done, ready to go.
Yeah.
But they have to improve and develop while they're here. And that's my thing. It's like, it's the same with Nunes. It's the same with, definitely with Dominic Szoboszlai. They're exactly the same players we bought. They will have improved in certain metrics, but when you watch them every week, it's still just the same player. Dom is still the same player. Will have a great game and then go back into his shell for 3 or 4 games and do nothing. At the sharp end of the pitch, he'll work and run hard and all that, but it's still, And then someone like Elliott comes on again. If you start Elliott for 5 games in a row, it might be different energy. But when he comes on, same like a player like Chiesa, they make stuff happen. And I know it's different coming on against tired defenses. It's a different story. But right now, I think Dominic Szoboszlai, to me, it's that thing. It's like Anna's saying, he's not gotten any better since joining. After 2 years, you should visibly have improved. Not just dig into the stats and he's better. It's like, no, this guy is much better than the guy. And to me, he's just still the same guy. Good for a minute. Good for 1 game. Next 4 games does nothing. So no progression. Really disappointing because I had such high hopes from him. But who knows? I don't think he's our main priority to get rid of in the summer. I don't think that needs to be done.
No, they probably give him a bit longer. But if he doesn't do it next season, I wouldn't even wait. You'd have to. It's all right. Saying like, well, they come in and we buy them at that, but they've got to improve them. But they've got to show consistency, even if it's small improvements, but just getting better and better every week and every month. But to be brilliant and then be nothing, and then be all right, and then be nothing, and then be brilliant again. We can't rely on somebody like that, can we?
So
no, he was an F for me anyway. It was an F.
Okay. I will put him as an F rating for you. Also, I will say that we're going to have a very interesting. I have an episode about Mr. Dominic coming up. That should be interesting. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of love on that one. So, moving on past the newlywed to the Egyptian king, who, again, as far as Salah, wasn't his best game. Again, hit the one of his shot. I remember he was right in front. I don't know how he didn't score that, by the way. Hit both posts. Just wouldn't go in for some reason. Then just couldn't find the net, really. It was a frustrating day, I would say, but got into some opportunities for him to score, just couldn't put it into the net. So I'm going to ask Nolante, what was your rating for the Egyptian king?
Do we know what's
God, flipping my mate. Put him on the bench, mate. Put him on the bench.
Yeah.
You know what? I know, and Brian was saying about Luke Thomas, the left back, but I disagree. I don't see. He didn't really have a good game.
I was trying to be nice, Nolante. I was trying to throw him a bone. He had a good game.
Forget bones. Forget bones. Let's get to the real truth. We don't do bones here. We'll get to the nitty gritty.
Yeah, but no, I just thought he looked impressive in a few moments. I use a silver lining. I thought
silver linings. Listen, truth hurts. Me and JK have had our own truth hurts, and we made up afterwards. Ain't that right, JK?
Come on, JK doesn't know yet. You're calling him Jurgen Klopp in disguise.
Okay.
JK,
someone
you're
figured
popular
it out,
tonight.
JK. Someone figured it out. Someone figured it
Yeah,
out. JK, Jurgen Klopp, JK,
yeah.
Jurgen Klopp,
Good
Germany.
inside.
They figured it out.
Mhm.
Never
They
seen
figured
you
it
in the
out.
same room together. They
Yeah.
figured it out.
Oh damn.
You
Oh,
even
damn.
been accused of using one of those voice changers.
Yeah. You've been talking to the main man all this time.
Yeah.
JK, for your how did we not spot it?
They control
Exactly.
Deutsch
We'll be
person.
hoodwinked.
Yeah.
They control
Talk about
Deutsch
every
person.
All
time.
right. Well, what do you? Oh, sorry.
I'm speaking German now.
There you go. Yeah.
Um.
What are we doing for Salah? I mean,
Yeah.
my rating was harsh on him. I gave him. I
I
did.
gave him
I
a
gave.
6 saying.
Are you giving
Yeah.
F? Oh wow.
Yeah, my rating
Okay.
was harsh.
I would give him an F if he didn't do anything during the game. Yeah, but he done everything but really score, really, to be honest. But yeah, he should be finishing these chances to dinner.
Yeah.
He should be
Should
having
have.
we should be
If
having
if
4
it was
goals.
anyone else, we would be saying the same. We would be
I
just
should have had 2.
Yeah.
right. We'd
Well,
be
Four.
2.
just
Well,
as
Should
should
harsh.
have
have had
four.
1. Should have 1.
Yeah. But he should
On a
have
good
had
day,
more
I
than
had
4.
2.
Yeah, I think all these chances were all scoreable for me, my personal opinion. With that being said, he done everything but score. Can't say an F, but I would. Oh God, you got to give E or D, one of the two.
Okay.
I think D is cool.
Yeah,
I think
D.
Salah was busy.
There's
He's
like a
busy.
D and then there's an F. That's all there's.
Yeah, I know. The E doesn't. Yeah, I know. I got to go D. I
I
can't
know
say
there
F.
are, I remember some schools do have E's, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
we used to have these. We had these.
yeah, yeah. You got to go with D. He was busy. He just didn't finish his dinner. That was the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I just think
yeah.
that we'd be just as critical of like other players, Hata, Cody, who still got
Oh,
a
he was
rate.
shy when he came on too.
Same reasons. He was better in the second half. He was better in the second half. Could that be because he's playing with Trent Alexander-Arnold on that side? Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I saw a good piece done
No.
earlier on Conor Bradley about how that guy, their left back, was actually doing a really good job in basically stopping the ball going to him just by standing near him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really tight to Mo, and it was like a tactical thing that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, we shifted Bradley to move up and cut inside
Mm-hmm.
to get that left back to stay with him, which opened up space for Mo. It
Mm.
was a really good little piece I saw on the internet earlier on. It's like, yeah, it was like Bradley you could see that guy was sticking to Mo. So they told Bradley to start making runs inside into his
Mm-hmm.
space,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll have to stay in and make that back line tighter,
Mm-hmm.
which gave Mo that kind of 4 or 5 yards of space. And then that out ball from VVD that he was constantly trying, they could go to him a lot more. So Bradley was very kind of tactically aware in that stuff, and it was a good shout from Slot, but it was well pointed out in what we did.
Mm.
But again, we were having to counteract what they were doing because what they were doing was stopping us. We shouldn't be in the thing where they're stopping us. We should have, it would have been better to be 3-0 up, let's just say.
Mm.
For example, that would have been better.
Would have been certainly.
That
Yeah,
would
we
have
would
been
all
better.
had a different amount of pressure gauge or blood pressure gauges going off a little bit. Well, it would be Lawante got Salah, so it would be JK's rating on Lucho, the man who's been basically one of our hottest players lately.
The Naga Chili.
I'll give him a C minus. I think he was good. He was sound, just his normal self, but no goal threat really.
C minus, you said, or D minus? You said
C minus.
C minus. Okay. I
Same
had
as
him as
normal.
C too, but I'll put him as a C minus. That's what Norm had him at too. Norm had him at a C minus as well. All right. Lucho. Okay. Tough rating. This was going to be a tough one, Bernie. Sorry it landed on you, but Agent Cody. What would you rate Agent Cody?
Just Cody.
Just Cody. Yeah. He might have had his badge relinquished from him for a little bit.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah, Cody. Cody Jack. Do you mean? I thought. Hang on. Cody Gakpo.
Yeah, Cody Hackbo. Yes, Cody Hackbo.
Sorry, I got mixed up with Jota.
Sometimes there's a movie called Agent Cody. It was like a kids movie, but it was about like Cody Banks was his name. It was Agent Cody was the name. And he was like a kid's James Bond basically. It was called Agent Cody.
Kid from Malcolm in the Middle, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, Cody for me was busy but doing nothing, or ineffective.
Yeah.
Is he doing nothing? That's
Yeah, so I'm going to say D for Cody.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It was and got the start in this one, by the way. Got the start. Obviously made us have to move Lucho to the center forward position. I don't know if that threesome has really amounted to creating the way it has earlier this year. I don't know if that was just like flash in the pan type situation, or if that's a real mark of teams locking it down or doing whatever they need to do. But Cody was definitely not there today. Alexander gave him a 3. Jeez. A D from Norm. I gave Cody. Cody's one of my favorite players, but I also gave him an F on that one. What was your rating for him, Bernie, again?
D.
A D? Okay. Oh, just for that. You're going to get lucky, Mr. Cody. You get a D+.
Lucky D from the B.
Yeah.
Good job it wasn't.
D-, excuse me, D-. Going between the ratings of the chat and your rating there, Bernie. Okay, I got you. Norm says you might be distracted, Bernie, but I don't think you are. So anyway, let's get on. I'll get on with the subs here, and start with Curtis.
12-man probably has no idea what we're talking about. He didn't see it yesterday. You didn't see the Jason Tyndall incident from yesterday. No, exactly.
Have you got the photograph, Brian?
Well, let me see it
now. Before you grab the photo, Brian, what would you rate Curtis Jones yesterday?
Oh, that's
a wind up.
That's an NA. That's an NA. He's only on for like 6 minutes.
There you go.
7 minutes, maybe.
Actually, you know what? I did have him as an NA. My fault. I have him as an NA.
I was thinking about someone else.
How about for Harvey? There's four. Yeah. There's or not 4. There's 3 other players that we're going to get in here. So, what would you get for Harvey Elliott?
Me?
Yes. What do you give Ringlets?
Ring.
65.
65. Okay. Harvey got a C from Norm, a 50 from Alexander. I thought he was lively. I think that Harvey brings a lot of energy to the pitch. That's interesting. Had a chance at goal too. That one. There was one. This is why too. Can I just? I'll just say this before. I'm going to put your ratings in, but this is why I truly do think that VAR should include decisions of whether it's a goal kick or a corner kick. I know it's going to sound crazy. I don't want to get too like deep into how long they shouldn't have to sit there for hours trying to evaluate if they got a touch or not. But honestly, yeah, I think that they should get involved. I mean, when it's obvious, I think they should be able to tell the referee that that's the wrong call or what the right call is. Because there was a shot by Harvey Elliott that he got a good crack on goal for with. It was goal bound. It deflected off of the Leicester player, and they still got a goal kick out of it. It doesn't sound like
I've been saying that for years, man. I've never understood why that can't be done.
Yeah,
because like there's a stoppage in play anyway. I've never understood when. Now I know it's because they don't want to undermine and clear and obvious, but yeah, the amount of times like someone takes a shot and before the goalkeeper's even picked it up, you can see on a replay that it hit someone and went out. I've never understood why they can't just go like in the air. Sorry, hang on, not a goal kick. That's a corner. Like clear and obvious. I've never understood that. Like that to me is one of the simplest ones. You know, it's like because we can all see it within that doesn't take 5 minutes. That just takes like one watch and go, yeah, hit him on the way out. I've never understood it. That's to me, that's a really simple thing you could do.
I guess a simple
Really,
one,
really
though.
simple thing. Yeah, it's not complicated. Wouldn't take forever. But
I think it would be simple, but I mean, like I can understand. I was just about to ask Norm that quick question. Like, you know, he's saying, by the way, can he just mention the amount of stoppages in games is killing the game. He lost count of how many times waiting for the game to restart. Look, it's not just in the Premier League, by the way, either. I was watching that Champions League match between Real Madrid, for instance, and in Arsenal, and there was one stoppage. There was that one stoppage of play they had, and it was like for 5 to 6 minutes, and ended up all being for nothing. Considering they ended up saying he was offsides, so I'm like, how come you couldn't get to that deduction earlier? And why did it take 5 minutes to this? Because they're looking for a foul, they're looking for this, they're looking for that. I'm like, it doesn't even matter if he was fouled, if it was offsides. So I mean, like, what's the point of all this crap? But yeah.
We've had some, haven't we, that have been absolutely ridiculous. It's like they're desperately trying to find something that they can, and then they're going back to, hold on, before that foul happened, there might have been something else on somebody else further down the pitch. And you just think, why don't we just give up and you just say, okay, you know, say it's not a goal or say it's a foul, we'll take it, because they're clearly looking for anything they can to try and to take it off us, you know. But the delay on the game is so annoying. It's so frustrating for the fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is frustrating. What did you give Harvey, by the way? You gave him a
65. So that'd be like a C plus.
C plus. Okay. All right. My question, Harvey. I'm about to ask Harvey a question, apparently. But my question, Norm, was the inclusion of goal kicks and corner kicks being, when they're clear and obvious mistakes, not overturning everything. But if it's a mistake that's obvious, you can see it on the replay of that it's a corner kick, not a goal kick, for instance, and the referees judge it as elsewise. I think that they should be able to like call down and say, no, you got that one wrong. Because that's a big difference. That's an opportunity for, we're taking a viable set piece, you know, option of being put out there with a corner, at least, away from a team. That's an obvious, for some teams, especially like your Evertons, even your Arsenals, you know, those are important chance creators. So I think that they would want the right call being made. That's all I'm saying. But let's see. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to be that's going to be, we'll go reverse here. Bernie, I'll let you rate Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Trent, I mean, probably well, what can you say? The goal, sort of like, just because of the goal itself, I'm just going to give him. I think I'm going to give him a B.
Give him a B. All right.
Yeah, for the goal.
I gave him a B too. Okay. Get a B, maybe a B plus for the goal celebration.
Yeah, that was brilliant, wasn't it?
Worth the yellow card.
Well, before all you guys skip me soft, but I thought, God, he's buff, isn't he? I mean, he's not, flashed out, whatever. The muscles, it didn't used to be like that.
Yeah, maybe he's hanging out with, maybe he's hanging out with Mo a little bit and working on his diet, I guess.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, really. Maybe that's why he pulled his shirt off, to let everybody see.
Yeah. He's like, I've been in the gym. So is Norm, apparently. Okay.
See what you like, Bernie, the upper body strength.
Yeah, where are you keeping it, Norm?
The
My answer to that is, where are you keeping it?
Yeah. That's very true. Diego. All right. Mr. Hata. I'll let Malante hit that, or excuse me, JK hit that one. I'll let JK.
Hotter than Jota.
What's that?
He's hotter than Jota.
Yeah, he's hotter than
But
Jota.
he's not like Arne Slot or Shotter.
Probably not.
Probably not, yeah. I'll tell you the truth, in the West Ham game, his gameplay was better. He got the ball, passed it on. He did it good. He didn't really make no difference to the game yesterday. It's a shame, man. I don't know what's happened to you.
Okay.
Has to be an F, doesn't it?
To me, no, because
F from Norm.
He got us the winner against Everton, you know what I mean? That was a beautiful goal. That was Jota. That was Jota old school. And this
that
is what football.
That was a return for what we expect out of that player, certainly.
Exactly. And I don't understand, how can a guy do that 1 week and then he can't do it again ever again? It's just weird.
And I'm going to say this too. I would say this
in his head?
Oh, sorry.
The thing is, Slot sort of gave him the backing.
That's what I was going to say. You can't say that he hasn't been given the ample space and if anything the
room to fail, as you say.
Room to fail. Oh goodness. Okay. Yeah. I guess.
No, you give someone the room to fail. It's like you give someone a chance. It's like, look, you can't say I didn't give you a chance. It's not like I'm giving you the room to mess it. It's like you give someone all the time, they don't step up. It's not, they can never turn around and say, that guy never gave me a chance. It's like, no, you got your chances. Chances.
He's gotten his opportunities for certain. He hasn't been.
He's done. He's done. Too many injuries. Too much time. 28. Like in 20 years' time, people will be like, "Oh yeah, Jota, he played, didn't he?" He'll be like a Ben. He's such a fringe. Like he's been here for so long, but he's never been a main guy here for us, and he never will be. He's never been a main dude. It's just like. In for a while, out for a while, in for a while. Looks brilliant. Like, do you remember when for like a short period of time he was like the best header of the ball in the Premier League? Do you remember when he kept scoring headers? And I kept bringing up, I was saying this guy is learning off Ronaldo at Portugal in terms of the way he used to time his jumps, because he's really small, but if you time your jump right, you can be bigger than ever. It's like he's learning that shit off Ronaldo, guarantee.
Yeah,
in Portugal.
Getting space and knowing when
he was so good with his head.
Extra space to jump in.
Yeah, just like a little guy times his jump brilliantly, great header of the ball. That's like 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then out for 4 months, back, gets landed on by freaking Decore, out for fucking 3 months. Like I said before, man, like we can't eat his bad luck,
The worst thing
we can't keep continuing to eat people's bad luck.
Didn't he get a hat trick in the Champions League? Did he get a hat trick in the Champions League game that he got injured? Did he have a hat trick? Or was he on a brace and was about to get a hat trick in that game? There was a game where Jurgen should have taken him off, and he allowed for him to continue on in the game, and then he ended up getting a bet. That's where he got his first really bad injury for us. I don't know if you guys remember that one or not.
I was going back. Well, yeah, because he's here
It's
like
going back
5
a while.
years now.
But it wasn't until then.
Yeah.
It wasn't until that moment that all of a sudden these injury problems started popping up.
Atalanta, Hashas is saying, is it Atalanta?
It might have been. It might have been. It was a while. It was an Italian team. I remember that. I don't know if it was Atalanta. I thought it was.
Oh, yeah, he's Atalanta.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
We were beating him badly. He had a hat trick or something, or he was either on a hat trick or it was like, but I remember that it was a game where we were up by a bunch of goals in that game, and it was one of those cases where he probably shouldn't have been on the pitch. But it's one of those weird things. You can't really injuries. There's no real sign of when or where you're going to get these injuries. But that was just a case. I was just bringing about that.
Also, as well, Charles, I can't forgive him for. Well, not I can't forgive him, but this thing. As soon as I heard he was injured, but he was, world champion at FIFA or something, earned a fortune from it. And I can't forgive him for that because I think if you're a professional footballer,
that's what Norm's saying. I got you. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, if you're a professional footballer, that's where your priorities are. Get fit and get back on the pitch. Not be lounging in a flipping gaming chair all night, winning things. And that, it doesn't go. It just doesn't go for me, the two. Either be one or be the other.
I got you. I understand what you're saying. For some of us that are gamers, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand.
Well, I know, but I've got nephews. They're up all night. I'm sure you are sometimes.
Right.
Don't they?
Everyone has their own ways of unwinding and getting some that adrenaline out. I understand. Trent Alexander-Arnold is a big a FIFA player too, by the way. He plays a lot of FIFA.
Oh, Trent.
Yeah, he does. He plays a lot. Him and Jude play. I wouldn't be surprised they play against each other online. That's how much.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's actually with this FIFA stuff, but the way that they play online and stuff, it's also actually just like a social thing.
Yeah.
Like it's like, yeah, they're playing each other on FIFA, but it's just like two mates that live in different countries. That's the way that they play FIFA tonight. Yeah, so they talk to each other. Yeah, they just have the crack, play FIFA. Yeah, they chat for a while. Yeah, obviously some people do turn it into the 12-hour marathon sessions, but it's also kind of like a social thing.
Yeah,
where they just get to talk to their friends for a couple of hours and play FIFA basically in the background. But it's all about connecting with people.
I get that, but it's when you're doing it in a world competition and you take.
Oh well, yeah, I know he's in that kind of. Yeah, I know he's like semi-pro or something, right? I know.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard he's like made a load of money and stuff. Yeah, obviously that's not like a couple of lads.
I didn't know he made money off of it, but yeah, I know.
No, someone put into one of my chats. I think it was the other day. I didn't fact check it, but they were saying like he won X amount of money playing FIFA last year, something like that.
Yeah,
like, okay. Right.
I'm sure somebody said it was more than $1 million or something, Brian. It was huge.
Yeah, again, I didn't fact check it, but yeah, it was like he's actually made money.
Wow.
Is that to be like paid to play, as an appearance or whatever, or just like I don't know. I didn't really look into it, but yeah, someone did bring that up.
Oh, check that out. I want to see about that. Well, the people wanted to see JK's evaluation, but we'll give someone that's going to be just as critical, if not more so, on our coach evaluation. I'll give that to Milante.
Oh no, come on. It has to be JK.
Yeah, I agree. Don't play mind games this evening. Mind games for 12 this evening. No. Oh no. JK's getting the fan base. I mean, as Brian knows, the merch is coming out. The slot out t-shirts. Brian, please keep promoting. So I think it's only right 12, you introduced the man, the myth, the legend, J.K. Kismet for this rating, please. I'll humble myself, my good friend J.K. Please take it away.
Kismet.
Yeah, there. I don't know how much Kismet's going to be on this rating, but
no, but Kismet.
Kismet means destiny, future. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me again, bro, Arne Slot playing games and not really using his brain, you know. But when you look at the subs bench, I'm just going to give Jota for example. That game weren't made for Jota.
Mm-hmm.
Like, chuck on Darwin. Darwin's not going to play for Liverpool again, I don't think. And he's shown it.
I think he might be done.
He's done. I'm happy Simicast is getting a bit of a taste, but for me, Chiesa's done as well. That guy wasn't even in the squad, bro. I don't know what's that all about. So Slot has really. So what's they got to start in place again? Oh, come on, bro. This ain't making fun of Stevie Wonder, but even that guy knew that Slot should be starting for Liverpool. Come on, man. And Johnny Hittigan is still there in the background, not telling his boss, Sabotaging shouldn't start against Leicester. He's had it. He needs to rest. So for me, I'm going to give Slot a. Can you give him an E? You know, I think I had a little bit of a go at him earlier.
It's either a D or an F, one of the two.
Oh God, he has got to be an F then. Even though we got a win.
There's no F plus or F minuses. If it's an F, it's an F. But
F's an F.
You can give maybe a D minus if you want. I gave him. I gave him a C.
Yeah.
Do you know it's going to
only because he got the subs right. I thought the subs he brought in were somewhat, the majority of the subs were good. I like the fact he brought in Elliott because Dom wasn't really clicking. I like the fact that he brought in Trent. Obviously, that made a big difference in our offense. I think. I don't think that he should have brought in Hata. I think again, this game was I think calling for a player like Nunez to to have some real pace in front, but he doesn't do that. So
I would have started Jones. I would have done what Brian said: started Jones, and then bring on Harvey Elliott for him. I would have said, "Sabotaging, put your feet up." You've been doing that for the last few weeks anyway, so
yeah.
You know what I mean, bro?
Okay.
Yeah, but all in all, man, I'm really disappointed in Arnie in the way he's finishing off the season, bro. I'm thinking he's gonna show us a bit of excitement in the football game, go 450, destroy teams, and we're getting a 1-0 bloody win away to Leicester. We beat West Ham by a goal. We got 6 points. Don't get me wrong, fair play, but it was tight. Could have gone either way, bro. If that goal was given to them in the 80 odd, I don't know what minute they scored, where Allison sort of got nudged and they scored. It could have gone pear-shaped. And this is what I mean about Slot. Sometimes in football, as soon as you give a team a little bit of a breathing space, they will take full advantage. And I don't think this guy realizes that sometimes. If you're 1-0 up in a game, get the second, get the third, and then you can do them tactics you've been doing. He's like a very cautious guy who plays very dangerously. It's weird how he is. Like he's a sort of, he ain't gonna do like you know what, I'm gonna play Darwin and Chiesa up top against Leicester type of guy. You know what I mean?
I think he's missing. I think what he's missing. I agree with you. I just think before we move on to the man of the match, I think he's just missing the one thing he's missing is the fact that he's like he. It's kind of like when you have a coach that continues to like ask for you to have your A game, always have your A game, have your A game, but yet you're not going to be rewarded for having your A game. So even though you did well in the game before that, you don't get rewarded with a start. You get rewarded with the bench. And I think he's taken out. Like, I think Nunez, for instance, is a very delicate player to have to manage, obviously, psychologically. I understand that. But if that's the case, then you have to figure out what it is. What is the way to connect to get the most out of Nunez? Because there's obviously something that he does bring because he's brought us glory this year and previous years. So if you can figure out a way to tap into that, that'll show even more so of what a coaching genius you are, but also it'll show you that you're able to connect with players and get the most out of these players. Because like, if you're going to sit there and allow for Chiesa to just sit on the bench, he gets in 1 or 2 games, he plays great, and then you just never go to him again. Yeah, that's going to take the spirit out of you a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, personally, that's how I got it. But
with him, you know, the puzzling thing for me is that he sticks with players that sometimes we want to come off because they're not doing it week in, week out, and then you think, well, you know, why is he on the pitch? Or like Dom should have been taken off, and then other players that you think, well, you know, last time they had a run out, they were good, give them a chance. They don't get a chance, or you know that he's stubborn and he's decided that they're out. You know, he wants them out, and I think you know, we're all saying, yeah, we want him to succeed, Slot. You know, we think it's great that he's come in and he's kept us up, and if we win the league. But next year, or you know, sort of the coming, not next year, the next season, it's going to be telling really for me, because he's going to have to bring in all these new players, get rid of old players, and then then we're going to see how good he is, because he's got to compete at the highest level and he's got to maintain, hasn't he? Otherwise, we'll all be looking at him, next season.
It's very interesting. Look, I can't emphasize this enough again, and we're into the man of the match. But before we move on real quick, I agree with you, Bernie. Like, it's going to be. I've said that a lot of how you view and look at Arne is going to be connected to the players that he brings in that he thinks are going to be the future of this club, the future of his system, and I also think that. I have to note that, you know, I know I'm not going to I'm not taking away the credit of what Arne has done with this team this year, but I'm just saying that Arne's was fortunate. I think of it as he was left with Jurgen's Ferrari, since Jurgen loved Ferrari so much. He was left with Ferrari, you know, and even though it has some miles on it, he was left with this Ferrari that he could either, you know, go out and try to make a run for it, or he could, you know, really retool the Ferrari into what he envisioned it would be. And I honestly think that if Jurgen was our coach this year, I think if we had the fortunate fortune of having the health that we had with our players, or having the injuries not be as drastic as they were last year, as we didn't have this year, maybe we make a run for it last year, and maybe we certainly make a run for it this year again. Still, even if Jurgen was our coach for the title, I think we would still be in very much very similar settings. But it's going to be a very big question where Arne goes with it. I'm going to ask the panel real quick to just give out their name for man of the match. I'll just go around the horn here. And I'll start with Nolante first. Who was your man of the match?
God, that's a difficult one. I guess you have to give it to Trent for the winner, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
JK, who was your man of the match?
I'm going to go with... I'll go with Trent. Yeah, man.
For Trent.
The amount of stress he's had over the last few weeks. Fair play.
Okay. Give your shouts in the chat too, by the way. Give your shouts in the chat. You know that we tried our best to make sure you're included in the ratings here. Bernie, who was your man of the match?
Yeah, same. Trent for the goal.
Trent with the winner. Got you. 3 for Trent. A little bit of a runaway here. Brian, what was your call?
Because he's a runaway, it doesn't matter what I'm going to say, so I'll give my honest answer, and that's nobody.
Oh.
Nobody. There was nobody there that I would have said, oh, what a match, what a game. Man,
okay. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, nobody.
Okay. All right, then. Norm said Trent, and just behind him was Harvey. Okay.
That tells you all you need to know. Subs that came on. The guys that started did nothing.
I know.
All
I
subs
agree.
are done.
I agree. I would have given him like a D+ or something, beating Arnie earlier for the vote, but I ended up giving him a C. But only because of the subs got it over the line. But it looks like our man of the match is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Make this full screen so make sure you get to see the man of the match.
None of us could have predicted that the other day.
What's that?
None of us predicted that the other day when we did like match teams and stuff like that. None of us said Trent's going to come on score the winner. Funny man.
I seriously doubt that would have been the case.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh yeah, the commentator said it on I think it was watching on Sky. It's Peter Drury, obviously, so he's a moron. But he was like, it had to be Trent. I was like, no, it really didn't. It was like, it was written in the stars. It was like, no, it wasn't. Really wasn't supposed to come to Trent having to come on and stick one in with his left boot this wasn't,
Right.
This was not the plan. It had to be him. No, not at all. It didn't have to be him.
Yeah,
Probably should have been about 3-0 up by then. That probably should have been how it went, No, not
It didn't
at all.
have to be him, but I could
No.
see, and I know JK's point is well taken. Not many people would have probably picked it to be him, but if there was someone that you could see getting it, I could see Trent. Trent Alexander-Arnold has had some memorable winners for us, or memorable performances in late in
Scores
the
at Leicester. Yeah.
But just for the narrative this guy was trying to paint, it was like, no. He was trying to pretend it was some like redemption moment or something. No, he's still leaving.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
We all know he's still leaving. He's won us a great. It's cool, but it's like no, it didn't have to be him. We didn't need to be relying on that. It's awesome that he did it. Like I said, that it's probably worth it for that celebration. Barely winning that game, just to show. Like I said earlier on, I think that's it. I'm leaving. If I am leaving, you can't fake this kind of emotion. So I still love the club. I still want us to do well. But let's just part on good terms because this is how much it means to me.
Right.
It's not some kind of fake kissing the badge bullshit. That was real, genuine emotion. And I think that's something we can probably look back on and go, look, he's left. He's never shit on us off the pitch. He's never created problems, talked bad about the club. He's always been proper pro. He's leaving, and something like that just shows you that anybody's questioning whether he ever really cared about Liverpool. I think that's the answer to, did he really care? Am I leaving? Yes. Okay. But am I a fake? Am I a snake? Am I a fraud? No.
Right.
This shows you that this is a real between him and the club. So,
and let me clarify this too. That was not a shout, or that was not a shot at our captain, by the way. And in any ways, that was not a.
No, how was that? What? Why? How?
Only because he kissed the badge the game before this. So.
Oh no, but you know what I mean by the badge kisses,
I know
like the guy that they join and after their first game.
I just had you.
Yeah, but you know those boys like they join like AC Milan from Inter Milan, and they score in their first game and they're kissing
absolutely.
the badge.
That's what
the badge kissers. That's what I mean by those guys. Those boys. They join Everton from Liverpool. They're kissing the badge. No, chill out.
What's the Manchester United player that went to Real Betis? Anthony, right? That's what he did his first game.
Day one.
The first day, he's like kissing the badge. And I'm just like, did you just get there?
Yeah, look, you're just happy to be there. Yeah, don't overdo it.
Happy to be there.
Don't make it weird. Don't make it weird from day one.
Yeah.
That was instinctive as well with Trent, wasn't it? There was no thought went into it. It was just instinctive.
No, absolutely none. Yeah. Yeah, he just absolutely went crazy with it.
Look what Trent. Sorry, I'm calling you Trent. Well, look what Norm's just typed about Max.
Oh, I know. Mad Max is definitely mad with our ratings, I'm sure.
Yeah.
By the
I
way,
think I know the reason. I think I know the
yeah.
reason Barney's getting confused because she's thinking about this guy.
Got you.
She's thinking about this guy.
Which coach?
Somebody's been to the dentist. I got you.
This is
There
the
you go,
infamous
Bernie.
photo.
Your guy.
Oh, him.
Mr. Tindo, yeah.
Yeah.
The dream man. Yeah,
Bernie
it
even
had to
said last
be
night,
him.
couldn't sleep last night thinking about him.
Exactly. Shiny white teeth and a smile.
Those eyes are like a serial killer's.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Whoa.
Peering into your soul type eyes there.
Don't even.
Better to see you, Bernie.
Yeah.
No, I'll be wearing sunglasses in bed. There's no way.
Yeah.
Oh,
No way. Wow.
that's harsh, Bernie. Good old Mr. Tindo.
There was something I was going to say too that might be interesting for those of us that are in hopes that Jurgen Klopp isn't the manager of Real Madrid next. Leverkusen's CEO has confirmed that there's a gentleman's agreement with Xabi Alonso if Real Madrid come for him. So
Yeah, that was well kind of documented. In fairness,
a gentleman's agreement is cool.
Yeah.
But if you announce that you have a gentleman's agreement, that means that puts your character even to more question if the teams do come for him. I don't know what Xabi Alonso's contract is with Leverkusen, how many years he has left, or if multiple, and I don't know either if it's got a clause in it, maybe that if he is to get perched by another team, if there's a buyout clause or if there's some type of fee that would be going to the team if he were to get the move. But it's one thing. I don't know. I could sooner see Xabi Alonso being. I'm not saying that's because I don't want to see Jurgen Klopp as the Real Madrid coach, but I could sooner see Alonso being the coach of Real Madrid before I could see Jurgen Klopp being the coach. To be honest with you,
He's got 1 year left, Alonso, on his contract, but there's a gentleman's agreement there with Leverkusen. So I mean, I can't think of anyone else in the top of my head, Alonso, that Real Madrid will be looking at.
Sultan Tyndall.
Yeah. Jason. Oh yeah. Apologies, JK. Yeah, Tyndall. Jason Tyndall, mate. Head coach. You might have to. It might have to upset his bestie, Eddie. That would be heartbreaking, obviously, for Eddie.
Yeah.
But from Alonso, I can't think of the Klopp thing. Just park that. I can't think of anyone else that would be suitable or in the managerial world right now. Yeah, I can't think of anyone else. Oh, actually, technically, they could. I don't know why he'd go back there again, but they could ask Zidane to come back again.
They could. I know a coach. I know a coach that would be perfect for them right now.
Oh yeah,
Ruben Amorim.
He
was hot. He was a hot commodity.
No, don't be greedy now.
Put him over to Real to sink them even lower.
Don't be greedy. Exactly, Betty. Listen, don't be greedy. He's happy there in the mean streets of Old Toilet, in the red half of the Manx. No. He's comfortable. Don't do that, 12. Don't be rude, please. Don't be rude.
What's that beer that Manchester has?
never interrupt a man when he's in the toilet.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All
exactly.
Right. All right.
It's either a pint of Boddingtons or a San Miguel, por favor, cerveza.
Jeez. He would be. He would be my pick at least of names that were at least hot at one moment, because his name was one of the his name for a while before he got that job was one of the top ones. But then again, if they don't want to have Ruben, maybe they could, as Norm is saying, maybe they can bring back the man who won trophies for Manchester United.
He certainly did.
Ten Hag to Madrid.
What a great idea.
I would definitely thumbs up that move. Each and every time.
Bring back Casemiro with his two wooden legs.
Yeah. Oh,
that'd be great. Bring it on.
I don't know. Casemiro was the hero, for that last Europa game because they were out. Absolutely.
Yeah, Liam bottled it, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's kind of got him playing again, to be honest.
Yeah.
In fairness, Amorim has kind of gotten Casemiro playing again, and he's doing it in a two-man. But yeah, I think Alonso is 99% guaranteed to be next Madrid manager, and we can't always get it the way we want it. And I always thought it was going to happen eventually. So I can figure a timeline where nobody stays at Madrid for a super long time. So Alonso goes to Madrid next year, stays there 3 years. We have 3 years after a Slot. Alonso comes in and replaces Arne Slot. I'll take that.
There you go.
He scratched his Real Madrid itch by getting to manage them.
Yep.
Let him, and because we all know his next one would be Liverpool.
Yep.
That would be his next one. He might then say after that, obviously Sociedad, Spain, but you'd ask him if you can have your dream career. Which would you? I want to manage Madrid. And I want to manage Liverpool. So he goes to Madrid 3 years. We've 3 more years of Slot. Alonso comes in. Perfect. I'll take that.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. And for those of us, I know Brian was trying to since we're talking about toilet humor, he was trying to poo-poo my idea of KDB joining Liverpool. Apparently, Chelsea have put their name into the bag as to maybe a place that will bring back the former player, the former Blue, to London.
That'd be a weird one. That'd be very weird to play where. I know that'd be a weird Chelsea signing.
I don't know. Yeah. It would. It sounds like a weird Chelsea signing, but again, I think it would be just like a Chelsea signing to sign. To sign someone out of the blue like that.
Yeah, they don't buy a striker again and they buy KDB. Oh yeah, that's definitely Chelsea logic.
And they're going to sell about 11 players this summer. You just watch what happens at Chelsea. The amount of players they are going to sell this year. They're going on a whole squad, kind of like even the likes of Mudryk. Mudryk's gone, and they spent 100 million on him. So they're going to sell a load of other guys just to generate funds, like the Chukwuemekas of this world, these kind of people. They're going to sell a load of these guys, and then start. So would they? It was kind of weird though. It was funny to see like KDB come out and say in an interview that I didn't even get. I was kind of shocked that I didn't get offered a contract.
Yeah, you read my mind.
We had something like we sat down and it was like a 2-minute business meeting, and it was like, what can I say? I was very surprised, what do you say, surprised or disappointed or whatever it was, but not like shocked or disgusted. He didn't go that far.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, cool. I get, I'm a little bit older, clubs need to do, but yeah, I was surprised not to be offered a deal. I still think I can do it at this level.
It sounds like
interesting.
Sorry, it sounds like he's really fallen out of love with City, and
was he ever in love with City? Was he ever in love with City?
I don't think he's fallen. He's just wanting to stay. It's just that Dave just wanted to get rid of him. Injuries and age.
His wages more than that now, I'd say 400 grand a week. Well, not far off 380, I think it was.
on the TV over the weekend, they actually said that even if they offer it, he said he's off, he's going, he's not going to stay. They said. So I mean, what better way to really get to City than to come to Liverpool?
Oh no, the 34, Barney, come on. Seriously.
Yeah, I don't want him. Although he did say
No.
that he's opened. Yeah, he's not committed. He's open to staying in the Premiership. Just
Yeah,
just
but
won 12.
if he wants,
12.
yeah, but if you're offering him, if he has an offer of, like, our wage bill is important. There's only so much room in your wage bill. It all eats into your PSR money.
It depends.
So
Though. Does he's loaded? Does he need it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's about money. Yeah, I don't think it's
if you
about
play for
money.
20 grand a week on a pay to play, cool.
On a bench player, he could come off the bench, but I think if he got training with us, because he put on a bit of weight after his injury and he didn't look fit. I think we could rejuvenate him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, God, it's just the injuries, man. Yeah, Brian, 34. I mean, I wouldn't
The
be.
signing on fee, big wage. He's on a free
I just think
transfer.
we
He's
should
going
just
to get
move
offered
on.
huge
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, the wage. Yeah,
I would want, as good as he is, I would want a Kudus over KDB.
And I get the wages thing. You most times, more than not, you don't see players take, they don't go the opposite direction. Their wages, unless they're going to like maybe a different team in the league or something like that. But, and I get it, his wages are ridiculous. 400,000 he's making, but maybe this is a stage of his career in his life where he's like, okay, yeah, I can take a little bit of a haircut to my wages because I've made so much money already. Major haircut, okay? Maybe a buzz cut. Yeah, I mean,
But it'd be 1 year. It'd be like on a 1 year deal, basically.
Yeah.
Like but he's going to be offered. That's what I'm not saying, but the offers that he's going to get as a free agent will be astronomical. So it's completely to your point. How much of a player is he prepared to say, I could get a 50 million sign on fee with some Saudi club and 800 grand a week, but I've decided not to take that.
I don't think it's going to Saudi Arabia. I get that.
Yeah, but that's just for an example. Yeah. Or say like a 10 million sign on fee with an American club or an MLS club and a big wage. How much is he prepared to turn that down to take a 1 year offer from a club? Because why would he turn, like, if he thinks he has one more year left?
That he doesn't think he's, like, as in, this is no knock at the MLS or even Saudi Arabia or any of the leagues that you're referencing. But I don't I don't think KDB thinks he's done just yet at the level.
Yeah, he said it straight up. He thinks he's still got a. Yeah. So, but is any club prepared to offer him a 4 year? Like, it's got to happen somewhere. There's going to be a happy medium somewhere. So, I would love the idea of him come to Liverpool to play 25 games in a season off the bench. But can you make those figures work? Can you make those numbers work? I just think it's fairly unlikely. But Chelsea,
it's interesting. 12th, you said that he said he would stay in. That he could see himself staying in the Premier League, but who could, like you say, who could afford him? There's who would pay money, and he knows we won't because we won't pay our own players that. So he knows it's not us. So he'd have to take a huge drop because there's not many other teams who could get close to it. And he won't go to United. I couldn't see that.
Oh, Chelsea or us. Those are the only two. But let me ask.
Chelsea would be funny.
But yeah, that'd be weird. That'd be stupid. Honestly, that'd be a stupid signing. But almost right. But let me ask you guys all this and in the chat. Would you take a KDB for 2 years and he plays? And let's just say, and again, I'm not doing all competition. Let's just say he can play 20 league games, whether it's bench or starting, over selling Elliott. Would you guys take that in the summer?
Wait,
so Sobo's going to stay. Yeah.
Sobo's going to stay, right? But
yeah,
you're saying, for us to get KDB, we have to sell Elliott?
Yeah. 2 years. 2 year KDB for the expense of Elliott.
And we're not looking at wages. You know, you
Yeah,
take wages out.
we can buy him, Bernie. Yeah, so just nothing about it, just point blank. We can get him. Everything is agreed, whether it's 200, whatever. So 2 years of KDB over selling Elliott. Would you guys take that?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, because he's so talented, KDB, but I've got a real soft spot for Harvey, you know, because he loves Liverpool through and through, doesn't he? You know, but
I know that question isn't a fair question. We don't even get 20 games out of Elliott now from this coach. So I mean, like, you know, it's like at least if I got 20 games out of KDB, at least I'm getting 20 games.
Yeah,
you know, we get barely. What is Elliott played like all of 6 games, 7 games this year?
Yeah, he's never started in the Premier League game.
And isn't KDB mates with Virgil?
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
They take they take family holidays with each other.
Oh wow.
They play Scrabble.
They go to Legoland.
And I would say too.
Right. And Nolante, you need to do. I'm not going to do it.
No, I was just going to add that players do have sometimes players do have influences on other players in joining teams. I think just as much as the coaches do. You know, players can influence other players as to whether it's a good move or not, or whether it's in their best interest.
That could have a massive influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a friend, if your best mate works for Apple and they want to hire you, and it's like they're working, like he's working for Apple in Austin in their head office, and you say they want to hire me, what's it like there? 100%, like you're going to trust your mate. If something like I think it can be real detrimental, problematic, and all that. But like I said, it's one of the best ways of, like people are talking about us buying certain players. If you want to know like whether their character's any good or not, like Cunha, well, you've got Allison right there. You go and ask Allison what he's like. He plays with him for Brazil. He knows him. He's going to know these guys.
Yeah.
So, you know, that can have a massive impact. If someone says, "Oh man," like Angel Di Maria, if someone asked him what it was like living in Manchester after 5 months, you imagine what they would say.
But how great would it be, Brian, for KDB to go to Liverpool and help them lift back-to-back Premier League titles?
Yeah, I'm not saying it'd be a bad thing. I'm just saying I can't see it happening.
I know.
The thing
I
is,
just can't see it happening. And unless someone's put something very strange in John Henry's tea, and he's now signing up Mo Salah as a 33-year-old and Virgil van Dijk, and he's putting on money for 34-year-olds. He's saying to Michael Edwards, "Yeah, forget about your long-term bullshit, man. We're just going to buy the best in the world right now." It's like, okay. You know, it's just like we're joking about the other, like, but that's like that would instantly give us 3 players with almost an average age of 100. Just 3 players. Our squad, we'd be breaking records for the squad ages overnight. It's just, I know as a footballer, yeah, you got 12 good months out of him, and someone said like, basically, you're giving me the option of either him or Harvey Elliott for 12 months, him at the top of his game, even as a 34-year-old. If you got 25 games, I know Harvey didn't play, but yeah, you're going to take him. You're going to take him, like you said. He comes in
and for a year, yes, but I mean, like, yeah,
it's not. It ain't the future.
We're looking at it more as there's a higher ceiling, obviously, on Elliott, being that he's still got.
Elliott's never going to be as good as KDB, but
KDB's
only got maybe 1 year left in him. So, is it the present? Is it the future? I don't know. We'd love to see it on a 1-year deal, $100,000 a week. Cool. Then you can go off and make his riches somewhere else.
I think that you could make money off of it. I mean, like, it doesn't. I know people hate hearing this stuff, but you can make it work for you simply by the fact that it's KDB. He's got a like, you know, a marketable name. It's a big time name in football. You know, that alone could pay for some of the 1 year, you know, hit that you take to the wage purse. You could definitely make it back with the fact that you're selling KDB jerseys, you're selling KDB, he's making money or I don't know however much of his likeness that they get. What the percentages of his likeness that he get to promote it, but it'd be a pretty good one.
Also as well, the disciplines, it's like Milner, isn't it? The disciplines those experienced players bring into the young players.
Yeah. If there's someone that you want, if there's those of you that don't like Dominic Szoboszlai's play or the player himself, albeit okay, that's your discretion. But I mean, like, get KDB in there. Maybe some of that tutelage rubs off on KDB, being more of like that. Maybe I can't give you 34, 33 games in a season type situation, but I can at least bring a little bit of knowledge to that training pitch that's going to pay off for some of the players that you want to emulate my play from. And KDB would be a fine player for that.
Well, can you imagine KDB spraying the ball over to Salah all the time? Imagine that.
Trust on that, Bernie. That'd be phenomenal. Phenomenal. Heck, it's one. I mean, Brian picked him up in the Anfield Cup, so he obviously likes the player. It was a long time ago, but I remember.
Hey, the memories are strong.
The memories are strong, man. That was a player I wanted. That's why.
Yeah.
I remember that photograph when he was a kid. He was in the Liverpool strip, wasn't he, KDB? So they said he was a fan when he was a boy. He's denied it since, but he must have been.
He's a Liverpool guy. He was a Liverpool guy. He's admitted it.
He's
admitted it. Yeah, he was a Liverpool fan.
It doesn't just stop with him. His grandfather was a Liverpool fan, apparently. So it goes down through his grandfather, his dad. They're all Liverpool fans. So that's where he apparently got along.
He'll have to start working on a song for him.
I already got my Bernie.
I still think, by the way, that I think Lucho's song is the best song that we have so far now for players.
Did you hear it though?
You could hear it. You could hear it pretty much.
Who was playing yesterday? And there was I think it was Arsenal. I'm not sure, but they were singing that tune, but they put their own player in there, and I thought that doesn't half wind me up. The fact that we make all the songs up, and they all nick them because they haven't got an original thought in their head. The other fans, There was definitely a team yesterday, and there was.
Yeah, I saw. No, that was Arsenal. I heard someone else say that yesterday. They've nicked another Liverpool song because they were the first to take LA. Loads of teams do that now. The LA thing, and even the Arsenal ones are doing it. And it's like, well, we've conquered all of Europe in it, so I don't know what they're doing. But yeah, Arsenal are notorious for stealing. Like, I wasn't sure which one it was, but it's the Diaz one, obviously, because so I saw someone saying that yesterday that Arsenal have stolen. It's like good to hear Arsenal stealing another Liverpool chant. It's especially, but when I understand when it's something we didn't really make up. When it's the LA one, it's like something specifically written about us for us, and they're stealing that. It's just like. No, they have no shame. They're shameless. They are.
I was just going to say, I'd be embarrassed if I was a fan, because
make up your own song.
Especially when it's particularly tied to us, and they're supposed to hate us. Why would you sing our songs?
Yeah, I like his song. I like Lucho's song the most.
Yeah, that's one of the best ones, isn't it?
That's the one they've stolen.
Yeah.
So, typical Arsenal fans.
Yeah.
So
and then,
there's something on YouTube where in a French restaurant, and a girl walks in, and a very beautiful woman, and she walks in the door, and she starts singing that almost in an operatic way. So it's obviously been going around for a long time, that song, and she's singing it, and then everybody in the restaurant don't know. It's genuine, but one of these, these flash mobs sort of thing. And everybody's looking at her in the restaurant. And the next thing is another girl walks in and she joins in. And then there's a group turns up, and but it's done in like an operatic way. But it sounds absolutely amazing, and the whole of the restaurant couldn't believe it. But so that I don't know where that song's come from, but it's been going for a while, before we got hold of it.
Yeah. Well, the only other song I liked, it wasn't about a player, but I like Arne at the Wheel. The Arne at the Wheel song was funny. I thought that was probably one of the better songs out there.
Arne
That's
at the
song
Wheel.
to be sung anywhere. Or let's say Arne. I mean,
The other guy. The United.
Yeah, United coach at the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ollie.
Ollie at the wheel.
Mind you, Ollie was better at the wheel than the others that followed him.
How about this? If the things go the way they should go in this court case, Ollie might have a Premier League title to his name. It's pretty wild, huh?
But do you remember when the fans were horrified with Ollie? They'd all lost faith in him. We were all skitting them, and it turns out he's actually done better than any of the other managers that followed him.
Absolutely. Sad, but true. Sad but true. But can only hope that it continues to get worse. There is one other thing I was going to bring up before we end this show. Apparently, Liverpool are planning a squad get-together to watch Arsenal's game with Crystal Palace in the event being crowned Premier League champions, by the way.
Oh,
It's
wow.
interesting.
So they'll probably, that'll go out, won't it, on LFC?
Yeah, do they play Wednesday? Is that when they play?
I think so.
Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah. That's the
So
game.
they'll have a day off that they can actually they can enjoy. Let's hope that they yeah. I wouldn't mind Crystal Palace obviously giving us the title early. That'd be great. But considering how we played the last time, we wrapped up the league a little early, and then we had a game later that week. Not too good results. So hopefully that's not the case this time.
Yeah. It'll be good, won't it? To actually celebrate it at Anfield with the whole, the whole stadium. It'd be fantastic, and the city as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Well, is there anything you guys want to say before we wrap this up? Coming up close to we went like a little bit over the time, but it's all good. Is there anything you want to say to the people? We'll start with Brian. Is there anything you want to say?
No, just thanks for being here, as per usual. See you all on the next one.
Okay. Bernie, is there anything you'd like to say to our Reds out there?
Yeah, just same as Brian. Really. Thanks for keeping us amused as well with all the things, all the comments.
Spot on. Okay. JK, is there anything you'd like to say to the people before we let them do their thing? Enjoy the rest of their Monday.
Yeah. Nice one for all the chat. Always top guys. And Norman said about Chiesa, Nunes, and Elliott leaving. We're gonna have a big summer. It all depends on the owners, I believe. But for me, I wish we had a game this weekend against PSG in the semi-finals. You know what I mean? Or Arsenal, whatever. Next week, actually. Next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather win the league on Sunday ourselves. Win that game, we won it.
Agreed. I agree. I understand.
Yeah. But remember last time when they all got together, Klopp, Virgil, they're all in like an outdoor bar sort of thing, and City were playing Chelsea, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly. See, Chelsea. Yeah.
I think they're going for that one again, aren't they?
Yeah, with Barbie. Yeah.
Yeah. So bless up everyone.
And last but not least, Nwante, you have something to say?
The road is long
goodness.
And we're one game away. 20 times too soon. Arne Slot to the moon.
Merch out at the end of the season.
Watch out! Watch out!
The reward that will come,
This is,
everyone.
he's got
Once you
talent.
complete
Watch
the
out.
league.
He's got talent. Watch out! There you go.
Good night, everyone. And you'll see my face once we win the league within the next week or two. I will be on camera doing more crazy stuff and antics. You best believe. Good night. God bless. Peace out.
Okay. All right. There you go. There, if that's not temptation, I don't know what is. So therefore, we will let you guys all enjoy. Bernie, definitely stick around even after the stream ends. And we are going to say goodbye for now, but we will be saying hopefully hello tomorrow as well to everyone out there. Definitely join us tomorrow. Tomorrow's not Tuesday, so maybe we'll do a watch along on Wednesday or something like that to just watch along that game as well. But
Yeah, good idea.
But most of all, I would like to say, hey, up the Reds each and every time, each and every day. It's the big, big part of our lives. It makes it definitely special for you guys to be a part of this movement, which is what we have here. So hopefully you join us tomorrow and you keep the movement going in the right direction, which is forward. And we appreciate you each and every time. So up the Reds, as I said earlier, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Take care and enjoy, people.